How long? It's 2 a.m. Stop the tilt.
Clear the board. Buy yourself time. Magnet. Pull every shield your way. Royal Frenzy!
How long can you survive?
Come on, the board's waiting.
Has this ever happened to you?
Oh, shoot. Another mouse slip.
What about this?
Oh, well, holy bishops en passant. I think I'm getting carpal tunnel. If only there was a way to play online chess with a real-life board.
What if I told you you can with ChessUp 2? That's right. With ChessUp 2, you can now play over the board online.
Wow.
Simply connect your chess.com account to our state-of-the-art ChessUp 2 and get a game started. Every time you move, our revolutionary board will transmit the data online directly to your opponent. And as soon as they move, squares will light up, signifying which piece is going where.
Well, shucks. This Hikaru guy seems pretty good.
With ChessUp 2, mouse slips and sore wrists are a thing of the past.
My carpal tunnel is gone. Well, this sure is fun. I'm playing online against my new friend Hikaru. Who needs a family? But I sure do miss clicking on a piece and seeing all of my available moves, like they have on chess.com.
Well, Danny, you're in luck. This feature is totally available on the ChessUp 2 as well.
Wow. Well, I'm convinced. But hey, what if I don't just want to play an opponent online? What if I want to use one of chess.com's other great tools?
I thought you'd never ask. With ChessUp 2, you can fully take advantage of the chess.com integration by playing bots, analyzing your offline games, and even using our optional AI assistants to visualize the quality of moves with color-coded hints.
Well, holy ChessUp, you did it. You made IRL chess cool again.
You got it, Danny.
And how do you know my name?
Play chess today on the board of tomorrow.
This is the Esports World Cup, and in 2026, we're raising the bar again. For 7 weeks starting in July, over 2,000 players from more than 200 clubs will compete in 24 game titles. And with a life-changing prize pool exceeding $75 million, the club championship stakes have never been higher. The club with the most points will be crowned as the best esports club in the world, taking home an incredible $7 million grand prize. But that's not all. With over 300 plus activations taking place across the event, the Riyadh Boulevard will become a must-visit destination for families, friends, and fans alike. EWC is where players become legends, fans become a part of history, and the best rise above. See you this summer at the Esports World Cup 2026.
Namaste doston to the final day of the chess.com Open Championship. We have Magnus Carlsen as usual against Duda Jan-Krzysztof today, and it's going to be very epic. Magnus actually एक time के लिए against Duda did suffer, but I feel he made an insane comeback after that. But today is going to be a very difficult day. Welcome, Sahil bhai. Welcome, Samay bhai. Welcome, chat.
Welcome,
How
chat.
are you guys
भाई
doing?
भाई सहज भाई आई थिंक मैग्नस कार्लसन को कैमरा एडजस्ट करते हुए लग रहा है कि वो भी इंसान है पहले अटेम्प्ट में हर चीज में वो एस नहीं करते, सो कैमरा लगाने में उनको 3-4 अटेम्प्ट लगते हैं कि फाइनल पहुंचने में तो ही इज ऑलवेज देयर इन द फर्स्ट गो। रेस्ट डे भी ले लेते हैं वो ताकि रिलैक्स कर सके। एंड ऑनेस्टली चैट सवाल एक ही है, क्या डूडा के पास चांस है? आई थिंक दैट इज द ओनली क्वेश्चन वी आर थिंकिंग, क्योंकि वरना मैग्नस डूइंग मैग्नस थिंग्स, qualifying for the EWC via every path possible. Sej bhai, your thoughts?
I think Magnus तो already qualified कर ही चुका है. I think Duda also would have qualified, I think, as well. But I think it's more about beating Magnus for Duda because he performed so well throughout this entire event. I mean, look at his track record, right? I think I was checking this yesterday. He lost his first match against Nepo and then उसके बाद won 3 back to back. So one loss against Nepo and 3 back-to-back he defeated him. उसके बाद Sina Movahed, Nihal को 3-0 हराना. He only lost a match against Magnus previously and उसके बाद from the losers bracket he has just been fighting against everyone. So I think today will be a very difficult day. And I think Duda का एक रहता है I think Magnus के साथ. I feel Magnus is not necessarily a clear favorite here, but of course he is in the winners final. So of course for Duda would have to beat him twice, but iske chances बहुत rare है because Magnus is ultimately good. And there you see the leaderboard with Magnus, Alireza, Duda and Denis Lazavik, who have already qualified to the EWC final. But
Yeah.
Sahil bhai, what do you think will be the list? Do you think amongst the players from 5 to let's say 10 who has the most who is the most likely to be qualified?
I would say, of course, Hikaru, Nihal are the two names because points bhi zyada hai, and also these are the guys who play very well. It would be impossible to imagine a EWC without a player like Hikaru. Like, he'll surely be there, I'm sure. And Nihal Sarin, of course, has shown ki maybe he will not win every one of these events. It might go to Magnus, but he's always there in the running, right? Semi-finals mein kabhi rukte hain, kabhi finals, kabhi quarter-finals, depending on the event and the competition. So he is likely to qualify as well. बाकी और इंडियंस में कौन क्वालिफाई करेगा इज अ बिगर क्वेश्चन। आई थिंक अर्जुन का नाम मुझे वहां दिख रहा है और तो किसी का नाम है भी नहीं, सो होपिंग कि अर्जुन को भी
Pranesh
Yeah,
is
Pranesh
also
also,
there,
by
I
the way.
think,
Yes,
right
Pranesh
below.
also there.
Actually, only 3-point difference between Arjun and Pranesh there. Wow, that is actually.
Yeah.
Actually, Pranesh has a higher probability than Sindarov. I mean, according he has more points than Sindarov, which is crazy. But yeah, let's go. I mean, GG for Pranesh there, and of
Yeah.
course, आज का दिन, of course, it's going to be. Could be a short one because it could get over in 3 rounds itself. Of course, this is the winners final. So instead of having 2 rounds, we are having 4 rounds today. But it could just be over in 3 rounds. Tikubai, do you think it gets over in 3 rounds or do you think it goes to 4? And do you think दूसरा match होगा कि नहीं?
आई थिंक बहुत जल्दी खत्म होगा। मैग्नस ना ऐसे बैठे हुए थे, सो ही ऑल्सो हैज सम मे बी कोल्ड लाइक मी, सो आई थिंक वो भी उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि यार आज थोड़ा आंखों में हल्का सा दर्द है, आज 3 ही गेम में खत्म करते हैं, घर चलते हैं। आई थिंक ही वांट्स टू स्लीप अर्ली, एंड बाय अर्ली आई मीन बिफोर डूडा के यहाँ पे वो रोशनी रुक जाए। सो आई थिंक ही इज गोना ट्राई टू फिनिश द मैच अर्ली एंड ही इज गोना ब्रिंग हिज ए गेम। सो लेट्स हैव दैट कैमरा सेटअप जहाँ पे लेफ्ट में मैग्नस, राइट में डूडा, या जो भी हमारा सेटअप है। एंड सहज भाई, आई मीन the question is कि are we going to see 4 games first of all? I think of course डूडा को 2 बार हराना है मैग्नस को, that in itself is such a tough challenge. But पहले हम एक एक चलते हैं। इस मैच में will we go to 4 games or will we see a 3 game quick win for either of the players? Chat, what are you thinking? 4 गेम पे जाएंगे, yes or no?
ये सही है भाई। टिक्कू भाई को मैंने सवाल किया, टिक्कू भाई ने अपना वो इंट्रोडक्शन देके वापस मुझसे वही सवाल पूछ लिया। ये सही है। ये ना मेरे को लग रहा है तानिया से सीखा है ये टिक्कू भाई ने, बिकॉज ही इज एक्टिंग लाइक द वेसल नाउ। नॉट फेयर, बट ओके, आई थिंक फॉर श्योर, आई थिंक 4 गेम तक तो चलेगा, बट 3 में भी।
सहज भाई, आर यू देयर? सहज भाई डिसाइड हो गए। सहज भाई जस्ट टू से कि हाँ भाई वेसल हूं मैं, बट भरा हुआ वेसल हूं, इतना कोल्ड है आज, सो आई थिंक आई एम ओके विद टू बी द वेसल फॉर नाउ। बट क्या मैग्नस कार्लसन अपने पास वो बड़े वेसल्स में से लाएंगे जो बड़े बड़े ग्लास आते हैं पानी के? मोस्ट लाइकली नॉट. आई रियली लव हिज बैकग्राउंड बाय द वे. काफी स्लीक, मॉडर्न एंड सिंपल भाई. सिंपल लाइफ जीनी चाहिए भाई. एंड आई रियली लव दैट. तो देखते हैं भाई कुछ करेंगे. और चल, आर यू एक्साइटेड भाई? आई थिंक क्या लग रहा है आपको? हु डू यू थिंक विंस टुडे, मैग्नस या डूडा? एक नाम स्पैम कर दो. वो कोई भी हो सकता है भाई, डूडा भी हो सकता है. देखते हैं कौन है डूडा के फैंस. चैट एक नाम स्पैम कर दो. बाय द वे ऑल्सो जीसीटी पोलैंड आने वाला है बहुत जल्दी. दैट्स इन द, आई थिंक द फर्स्ट वीक ऑफ मई, जहां पे गुकेश सिंदारोव हमें देखने को मिलेगा. एंड वहां पे डूडा होंगे. So, डूडा के लिए दिस कुड बी अ ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बीट मैग्नस, गेट सम कॉन्फिडेंस. एंड देन बाद में वर्ल्ड चैंपियन और वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप चैलेंजर दोनों को हराने का मौका मिलेगा एट द जीसीटी पोलैंड टूर्नामेंट. सो बड़ा मजा आएगा भाई.
Absolutely, bhai. And as I was talking, मेरा internet ही चला गया. But instead of disconnecting, it just completely went away. By the way, we do have lift off. He has played E4. What? What? Did that just happen? Magnus has just played knight
सहज
a3 on
भाई,
move 2. भाई मेरे साथ पहले चाल पे खेला था.
सहज भाई,
इसका दूसरे चाल पे भाई. He's redeemed. Let's go.
फ्लैशबैक्स. सहज भाई, आर यू फीलिंग सम ट्रॉमा राइट नाउ? ऐसे कुछ वो ऐसे ऐसे कुछ पैनिक तो नहीं हो रहा सहज भाई मूव देख के 983?
भाई अच्छा लग रहा है भाई कि उसने डूडा के साथ किया, बिकॉज नाउ आई फील लाइक डूडा एंड मी आर लाइक भाई भाई in this sense. Because chat, guess what? Magnus played knight a3 against me twice, once in Title Tuesday and once in Pro Chess League. And here he has done it on move 2 basically. Crazy.
भाई का शक्ल देखो भाई मैग्नस की. लग रहा है ना कि 93 खेला है. देख चैट, टेल मी ऑनेस्टली, इफ यू डिडंट सी द बोर्ड एंड यू सॉ मैग्नस फेस, यू वुड से उसने 93 खेला है? यस और नो? सहज भाई ऑनेस्ट दिल से बताना. लुक एट द फेस एंड टेल मी यू सी 93 रिटन.
भाई सब लिखा हुआ है 100%. I feel like उसका चेहरा ही स्टक लग रहा है मेरे को, हमारी तरह.
हाँ वो स्टक है, बट वो जाम से स्टक है भाई. जाम से स्टक है ताकि हम लोग 93 की सेंस बना पाए.
Oh, look at this. He goes for f4. That's a very interesting idea because he didn't play knight f3. Now he's playing f4 and knight f3. He जो knight a3 पे बैठा हुआ है. Maybe it can join the attack via c4 and push e5. Oh, he goes c3 and d4. ये knight maybe c2 से आ सकता है अब. Wait, look at this. Knight takes e4. Chat. Very quick tactic for you. Why is knight takes c4 a blunder here?
अरे मैग्नस आउट हो गया भाई.
या उसने वो फंसा नहीं ना, उसने नाइट सिक्स खेला. बाय द वे चैट, नाइट टेक्स e4 के
हाँ.
बाद देयर वाज क्वीन a4 चेक एंड यू कुड हैव जस्ट वन द नाइट देयर. दिस इज अ नाइस टैक्टिक, बट ऑफ कोर्स डूडा इज नॉट गोना फॉल फॉर दैट. ही प्लेज बिशप g7, बिशप e2, कासल हो जाता है. एंड आई थिंक मैग्नस इज अबाउट टू कासल एज वेल. एंड रुक b8 played to play b5. And I think Magnus is thinking now, basically it's kind of like that Grand Prix attack where white gets attack on the king side and black gets attack on the queen side with b5 b4.
आई रियलाइज समथिंग टुडे चैट एंड सहज भाई. कुछ मुझे एक रियलाइजेशन हुई है कि हम इतना ओपनिंग के पीछे डिबेट करते हैं कि यार यार ऑन मूव नंबर 11th ऑफ द सिसिलियन नाइट ऑफ HD variation में, what if black plays bishop g7 instead of bishop h6, man? Like that's crazy, it gives white a huge edge. And Magnus Carlsen यहाँ पे फर्स्ट चाल में आपके साथ, सेकंड चाल में डूडा के साथ नाइट a3 खेल के इक्वल पोजीशन लेके कहता है भाई जो करना है वो कर लो. आई फील लाइक मतलब चैट, आई प्रॉमिस यू, जो भी मैं अपना रैपिड टूर्नामेंट खेलूंगा ना, लाइक कुछ भी रैंडम टूर्नामेंट, भाई नाइट a3 तो खेलना ही है मुझे एक गेम में भाई, जस्ट फॉर द किकर एंड सी कि क्या होता है भाई. लाइक इज ओपनिंग रियली दैट इंपॉर्टेंट? और यहाँ हम फालतू में टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हैं सहज भाई सीख के उसको. व्हाट डू यू थिंक?
So I just want to put a disclaimer here कि chat, do not try this at home, simply because I feel knight a3 is breaking a lot of rules in chess, and I don't think anyone should break the rules before understanding the rules really really well. So knight a3 can be played on move 2 if you are if you know the theory very well of Sicilian structures, and you can also connect it with other scenarios जहाँ पे आप knight a3 खेलते हो, जहाँ पे knight a3 is considered one of the main lines. So if you start off with knight a3, then it can have very bad effect. Now, can we say is Magnus playing knight a3 without any preparation? Absolutely no chance. I think he would have looked at knight a3. He would have looked at f4. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब he would have looked at it for a very long amount of time. But I'm pretty sure this is not him freestyling in this position.
I agree. आयुष भाई कमेंट मस्त मारा, साले मूव्स औकात कैसे खेलनी चाहिए. अग्री आयुष भाई. बट लाइक ऑल आई एम सेइंग इज कि मेरा ना रूम फॉर एक्सप्लोरेशन एंड थोड़ा सा रैंडम चीजें करने का बढ़ गया. सो फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई एम प्लेइंग सम 1400-1500 लाइक लाइक जब जहां पे आई एम द क्लियर फेवरेट आई एम डेफिनेटली गोना ट्राई दिस स्टफ नाउ लाइक नाइट A3, नाइट C3, नाइट H3 maybe just to open the G file attack. Like I'm 100% gonna try it in some rapid event at some point and then बाद में उस पे वीडियो
So
बनाऊंगा.
you are telling me that you are planning to play Knight A3 against a 14-1500 player in
I'll
Rapid
go
in
for
India.
1600 also. Like हाँ एक गेम
तो
में I'll play
फिर
नाइट A3
तो
और हाँ
फिर तो फिर कैसा लग रहा है आपको अभी?
कैसा लग रहा है मुझे भाई? बहुत अच्छा
लाइक
लग रहा है. मतलब तबीयत खराब है बट
अपने 2200 के सपने फॉरएवर खो के.
भाई 2200 क्या है भाई? हाथ का मैल है, कभी भी कर लेंगे सहज भाई. मतलब कभी भी दिन रात में हो जाएगा, कोई स्ट्रेस नहीं है.
भाई don't
बट
do that भाई. In India don't do that भाई. It's very very
नहीं
risky.
भाई, हाथ का ही मैल है
That
भाई. अभी
14
मस्त
1500 player is going to be like some 8-year-old or 9-year-old kid who's definitely not 1400 in real strength, and this is how you get smashed basically out of the opening.
सहज भाई, I'm getting smashed anyways. I have left and right भाई. Might as well play knight
अरे
A3 and
ऐसा
have an excuse, no?
भाई ऐसा तो
So
नहीं है. The type of moves that you're finding, especially lately because of that puzzle rush, and I think you're working on chess from time to time as well because you're also able to remember a lot of classical games being played out. So I think you are working, and I think
you
this
know
knight A3 is not good, and if you prepare then of course it's very good. By the way, look at this
भाई
knight
देखो,
D7
by
is
the
a
way
big
भाई
mistake.
भाई knight A3 के साथ +1 advantage for Magnus Carlsen already, and Sej भाई the only prep I'm doing is allying with you. I think that has really helped. But जब actual game में क्या होता है ना, आप होते नहीं. By the way, I wanna chat. By the way, secret story. I played a rapid event a couple of weeks. I think last weekend I played, and round one में I got late by 5 minutes. When I reached my board, मेरे पास क्लॉक पे 4 ही मिनट थे, 4 मिनट 50 सेकंड आउट ऑफ 10 minutes. So I was kind of in a hurry, right? Like थोड़ा माइंड सेट है, जल्दी जल्दी करो. So I played a move, and then I saw like the guy on my right blunder a pawn, and I almost spoke out loud. अरे भाई क्या कर रहे हैं भाई? फ्री का प्यादा. I almost said it out loud. I am not kidding. I almost, those words came out of my mouth and I would have been banned from chess forever or something. Yeah. अभी कुछ cheating टिक्कू का accusation आया था कि भाई over the board game बता रहा है. Like it was so
अरे अरे
impromptu. So I think by commentary has clear side effects. By it can make you do some random shit.
No. I think fully agree on that. I can definitely see that happening to me as well. But yeah, that is very very funny. By the way, look at this. He goes bishop f6 to attack the queen. अगर वो अभी इस queen को attack नहीं करता तो rook h3 would have been a very dangerous threat on the h7 pawn. And now Magnus has to retreat back to e1, and up e1 से h4 आए थे, so may not be the easiest decision. He could play something like queen f2, जिसके बाद black can play b5, and okay, the position is not that much better for white anymore because you're not creating a clear plan on the king side. जैसे rook h3 queen h4 था, you can put the queen on h6, of course. Black can play bishop g7, queen h4, bishop f6 would just be a repetition. And अगर आप queen को h3 पे लेकर आते हो तो rook h3 नहीं आ पाएगा, and there is no attack in the position anymore. So tough decision for Magnus.
Agreed. I think उन्होंने move order गलत कर दिया. He should have played the rook first, ताकि जब queen आती तो queen h7 would have been mate. But he now plays queen f2. Your move,
Exactly.
Sej bhai. And I think Duda cannot waste time. He needs to break with b5 instantly. Otherwise, Magnus को time मिल जाएगा. He will this time play rook h3, but b5 on the board.
Exactly, and look at this. In hindsight, you think कि भाई queen h4, queen f2 खेल के मैंने अपनी position improve करी है क्योंकि मेरी queen एक घर आगे है. But however, this queen on e1 was looking at the b4 square. तो तब b4 less likely रहता because you could always take the pawn. And just in this specific scenario, just queen on f2 is just a worse piece. Very, very unlikely. But look at this. He goes knight b4, offering another trade of knights. And if you take, then pawn takes b4 and maybe some pressure on the b5 pawn. Although Magnus does have double pawns here.
Yeah, but just look at that Magnus Carlsen rating, by the way, who's sipping on cold coffee right now. I wish I could have one, but cold है मुझे, coffee नहीं. Sej भाई 2923 rating है उसकी भाई, 2923. And let's keep in mind, he's a guy who's had like a 2980 or something rating in over the board blitz test. So, I mean, question to you. I recently read an interview where Shaq, I think, told somebody कि I think Fabi के podcast से मैंने सुना कि like Shaq ने कहा था, जो उनके coach है of Dogmas, that Dogmas wants to be the first guy to break 2900. Like that's his goal, yeah. Do you think he could do it? Like because Fabi ने clearly बोला कि it's very tough nowadays because there are no 2800s apart from Magnus. Like पहले it was possible. Do you think somebody like a Dogmas could pull something like that crazy off?
I mean, what this question is really asking is, do we think Erdomas is the biggest talent of chess period? Because that's the only way that he would reach 2900,
Yeah,
right? पहले
yeah.
तो मतलब then you're comparing him to the likes of Magnus, to the likes of Kasparov, to the likes of Fischer, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, we have not seen enough of Yagis. I mean, he's only 14 years old. I think what he has accomplished at the age of 14 is, of course, insanely spectacular. But at the same time, it's still not. We cannot know whether it's consistent or not. And we know,
Huh.
especially in modern chess, it is very, very, very hard to be consistent overall. Every player, Sindarov, for example, won the candidates, but in this event, 3-0, right?
Yeah.
So it's very hard for players to stay consistent, and I think only time will tell. But 2900, just based on the fact that rating deflation हुआ है, and there is only Magnus who's 2841. I mean, you are thinking at one point Yagis will have a 2850 rating, and then he would have to beat 2750 players. So right now Arjun is 2750. So Yagis would have to beat Arjun each time, let's say 10 times back to back, and even if he makes one draw, then he would lose like 3 or 4, like not 3, like 2 points.
Yeah.
And that could really hurt his rating. So it's very, very unlikely, bhai, that something like this would happen.
Agreed, and that's somewhat what Fabi also said. So I think glad to see कि सारे GM sync में हैं. ये सहज भाई वो GMs के WhatsApp ग्रुप में डिस्कस किया था आपने और फैबी ने, मतलब साथ में स्टेटमेंट. चाहे by the way, if you don't know, there's a secret GM WhatsApp group. आपको एंट्री नहीं मिली होगी किसी को भी, बट मेरे को भी नहीं है, डोंट वरी. होता है उसमें रोज नेपो फैबी चिल करते हैं. क्यों सहज भाई?
Oh yes, of course. It's one of my favorite moments. By the way, look at this. He goes rook f3, and now the only move for black, okay, one of the only moves is to go queen e7 and to activate this queen on the e5 square. And this bishop takes b5. It's right now it is left, but black does have queen e5 check, which would take the bishop back. Not a very difficult move. And the position is, by the way, completely equal. So Duda could even press here. I think I really like Duda's chances more because it's good knight, bad bishop. Technically, okay, it's very wrong to call this knight a good knight, but okay, this you can imagine the knight sitting on e5 someday, and this bishop is
Yeah.
currently bad because of this pawn on e4. But depends how you look at it. But looks like a difficult position more for Magnus practically. Tikubai, would you agree with that, or do you
Agreed.
think it's fine for Magnus?
Agreed. I think in a scenario जहाँ पे I could pick up the d6 pawn or maneuver the bishop to b3 and then put it on d5, maybe my opinion will change. But I think that's far away right now because e4 is hanging. So I agree. I think Magnus practically worse. Time बराबर है. So anybody's game right now. By the way, good question by Arush bhai. कि Tepe segment आने वाला है with Arjun Dogmas as we talked about. So who's gonna be second at Tepe segment, Sahaj bhai, is the question.
I think I understand the question, and I think it's quite funny, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it is that clear that Magnus will dominate, because also Magnus has not played classical chess in a pretty long time as well. I mean, you saw what happened to Hikaru as well at the candidates, and this is the absolute best. I mean, at Tepe segment we have a lot of strong players, including Arjun as well, and it's just that those players are very much in form. They have played so many long events back to back. I think Magnus could struggle as well. So you never know.
Very
Second कौन
interesting.
आएगा? I mean, I think it will be either Sindarov or Arjun. like उनमें से एक का chance है.
Sindarov Nodirbek कैसे है वहाँ पे? I think Sindarov is in
Sindarov, sorry. Nodirbek and Arjun, I mean. Sorry, my bad.
हाँ. So by the way, d5 only
Oh, wait,
move,
look,
and
wait,
as we
missed.
discussed, bishop came to b3 as we discussed, the position could change, and now d5 is the only move, or he's busted and Magnus is winning.
Amazing, Tikubai. I think I really think you've been working on your chess lately, yeah? Because look at this thing to understand that bishop should be on d5, and it's been happening so often. So tell us your secrets, Tikubai. What have you been doing? Surely you're
Sahaj
working
bhai-
more on chess now.
So Sahaj bhai, कई बार ना क्या होता है कि like you know the principle, like we should go to Mars, we should build a colony on Mars, but how to build a colony on Mars is another question. like वो question प्रिंसिपल पता है भाई, बट कैसे इस्तेमाल करना है, कब इस्तेमाल करना है नहीं करना है, क्यों करना है, ये आई थिंक मैग्नस जैसे खिलाड़ी बढ़िया करते हैं. एंड बाय द वे नाइट f6 क्या ही पिन का इस्तेमाल किया, बिकॉज यू कांट टेक द नाइट बिकॉज द पॉन इज पिन्ड, बट यू कैन प्ले rook c3 attacking the queen, forcing the queen to the back rank, And then, of course, I can play rook c5, attack these pawns. Knight is still, of course, semi-danger. And black का king कितना weak लग रहा है. रुके तो रुको नहीं 6 यार. Now pretty stupid.
Exactly. And अगर ये pawn जैसे if in the previous scenario when the pawn was on e4 and black's pawn was on d6, then it was white's king who was much more in danger because ये knight h5 पे g3 को देख रहा था. You could enter from the back rank and have some checkmate ideas there. But now it looks like it is white's king who's in a lot of danger because the moment you take queen d5, f7 pawn is such a big threat. Also, I can throw e6 at the right moment.
Oof. Agreed. And chat
Wow.
यहाँ पे 2.5 मिनट है 3 मिनट डूडा लुकिंग अ बिट टेंस मैग्नस कार्लसन नॉट लुकिंग एट टालूंगा कैमरा ऊपर जाता जा रहा है ये क्या है भाई कैमरा ऐसे स्लो मोशन में से ऐसे सिनेमैटिक शॉट में ऐसे ऊपर जा रहा था भाई ये क्या था सहज भाई
By Magnus, is Magnus using an iPad today as well, or do you think it's something else?
नहीं
If
नहीं
it's an iPad, then iPad ही है. अरे
iPad ही लग
crazy.
रहा है iPad देख कैसे वो उंगली से चल रहे हैं
By the way, that's a repetition once, and Magnus is currently +1 in the position. So if he plays rook c3, almost winning the position is almost. But he's repeating.
Wait.
Magnus is
Wow.
repeating. What?
wow wow I'm shocked yeah
It's very surprising. Magnus repeats in a +1 position is not something we get to say often.
Yeah, never. Like Magnus Carlsen, and this does mean likely the match is going to last 4 games at least. So Duda के लिए एक plus already, and I think he's going to be a bit shocked. मेरे हिसाब से and he's looking at the camera now. I think उनको बोला क्या होगा शायद कैमरा एडजस्ट करो भाई. कैमरा अपने ही मूड में like camera is also excited about figuring out कि मैग्नस के रूम में क्या क्या है. Right? There was this video made about Magnus's home, right? याद है कुछ Chess 24 में आई थी कई साल पहले.
For sure.
So कैमरा भी excited है भाई जानने के लिए क्या है मैग्नस के रूम में. तो दाएं बाएं ऊपर नीचे अपने आप ही जा रहा है.
Absolutely, but still very, very surprising. And I'm sure, Magnus had that little shake, I think, after the game. Look, again, he's nodding his head. Like, I don't think he's happy that he took the draw here. And knowing that, rook c3 was +1, I'm not sure what happened because rook c3 doesn't seem that difficult in this position. I feel like it's like, okay, maybe rook c5 is a bit difficult to see, but rook c3 is normal, no? Also, I'm thinking queen b8 के बाद आप bishop d5 क्यों नहीं मार सकते थे? Like, how do you not choose this?
Agreed. I think fair point. I think what he wanted to do was combine the bishop and rook on f7. So strategically, maybe he wanted to keep the rook on f3 because of that reason. But yeah, I agree. I think just taking on d5 was like a slight advantage. Why not just do it over that simple draw, right? I mean, that's at least some advantage he would know.
Bhai, I think I understand. If you took bishop d5 here, there was knight d5, queen d5 and rook e6 and then black को e5 pawn मिल रहा है. But अगर आपने rook c3, queen b8 पहले डाल दिया, then you can defend with rook c5. Oh, by the way, yes, the new king.
भाई ये क्या position है?
Wow. So this is how it started, and he played usually bishop b5 पे जाता है. That's what we know as the Rossolimo system. But now he goes bishop c4, e6, castle, bishop d6. Very interesting move. I think the idea is to go back and push d5 maybe. But he develops a knight first, and already uncharted territory for me. No games in the database after move 5.
Wow. भाई मैग्नस कार्लसन इकलौता प्लेयर है जो वर्ल्ड के टॉप 10 प्लेयर्स को भी ओपनिंग थ्योरी से बाहर निकालता है भाई 4 मूव में. So if he was playing a world championship, भाई nobody in the world can guess his openings. भाई wow, bishop d6, knight e7, breaking so many rules of the opening. सहज भाई यार मतलब knight on f6 would be better in usual cases, bishop blocking the pawn, but somehow in 5 moves it will all make sense.
Yeah, because I think the plan is to go bishop c7 and d5, and okay, the bishop is more or less active on this diagonal. Generally, आप यहाँ bishop d6 नहीं खेलोगे. I'm curious, when did we reach a novelty? So this is the position where there are two sort of online games, but that's it. Rook e1 was a novelty by Jan, basically. So, but yeah, bishop d6 is the tricky move here. Crazy, actually. And look at this, Duda already having almost less than 1 minute. In comparison to Magnus, I mean.
Can't
Crazy,
even
no?
blame him भाई. Can't even blame him. वो भी आज chess सीख रहा है भाई. आप कहते हो सहज भाई like how have you been working on your chess? Duda is right now working on his chess. Like that's how I work on my chess. So he's learning new stuff by literally playing Magnus, I think, and you can see that subtle smile on Magnus's face. And look at that move. What is b4? I think center लेने की फिराक में Duda यहाँ पे.
Crazy, actually. I love this move. I think the idea is, firstly, आप एक tempo gain कर रहे हो because black is of course going to take the pawn somehow. You could develop the bishop on b2 and attack the pawn on g7, and this way you develop the bishop, some attack, and of course उसके साथ साथ you also have this move d4. So let's say if you go pawn takes b4 here, then d4 gives me the entire center in the position. And now I'm going to ask कि जो bishop आपका d6 पे बैठा हुआ है, unless you play d5, how is this bishop gonna get out? And this is why I want d4, that I can push d5, that आपका d pawn कभी move ही ना हो. Very nice move by Duda. But I think a theme like this we have seen before. I believe it's called the wing gambit, if I'm not mistaken, where you play this e4, c5, and b4.
Very interesting. And even more interesting, Duda is challenging this setup instantly. He's not trying to, just play a normal game. So he's saying, Magnus, आपने कुछ crazy खेला है. Now prove how it's equal. And by the way, knight takes मारा Magnus ने, which was not the best. And now d4 के बाद, Duda has, I think, a decent position. He has the center in front of him.
Yeah, for sure. And now lots of logical, moves that you would consider is pawn takes pawn, for example, in this scenario. But there is queen takes pawn, queen g7 is incoming. There's knight takes pawn, but I'm for some reason pawn takes pawn is a huge blunder. Is it because of c3 or queen d4? It's queen d4, but I was thinking knight c2, but queen takes d6. Wow, look at this. Knight takes a1, and white is completely winning despite being exchanged down. Bishop d3.
Bishop
Your
A3.
best move is bishop d3 here, bhai. Explain that.
Oh wow, I thought bishop a3 होगा कुछ, but okay, bishop d3. Crazy.
Bishop a3 allows knight c2. That's why you play bishop d3.
Oh, nice.
Very nice nuance.
धीरे-धीरे.
Yeah. Wow,
Can he
nice
name
find
this opening officially? I think you can't name the openings, but if you play something long enough, people start calling it by your name. And I'm not even sure if there is like a Magnus opening, Sahaj bhai. Like there are some variations, some deep, subtle, offbeat variations.
There is Magnus Queen's Gambit, the one with d5, e6, and a6. That's the one that I believe there is also a course on it. I mean, I'm not sure if it's coined everywhere as Magnus Queen's Gambit, but it's also known as Janovsky. But I think Magnus was the one who popularized it in modern chess. So apart from that, I think you're right. Not many openings that I can think of.
So maybe this one chat, आज मैग्नस की पहली बार एक ओपनिंग आएगी भाई, एंड लेवी वीडियो बनाएगा ही भाई उस पर 60 मिनट की, तो देख लेना तुम लोग. मीनवाइल एक टाइम बराबर हो चुका है, सो जो भी टाइम एडवांटेज था मैग्नस के पास, दैट्स वैनिश्ड. एंड बाय द वे ही हैज कैसल, सो किंग सेफ्टी को हाईएस्ट प्रायोरिटी दिया मैग्नस ने, एंड दैट्स व्हाट यू शुड आल्सो डू चैट. पहले कैसल करो, बाद में बाकी सब करो.
Exactly. Now Duda has a difficult decision. He can either push d5, which makes sense because I'm saying first of all this bishop cannot move anymore, क्योंकि जैसे आप bishop को move करते हो मैं d6 भी खेल सकता हूँ. And the second option is कि I'll play e5, kick your bishop, and then I'll take the pawn on c5. Both of them look interesting, and I think e5 dc5 is maybe more dynamic. Or he chooses neither. He keeps both of these options alive. Actually, I really like that option. And look at this. The best move for Magnus in this position is bishop f4. It's very difficult, no?
Oh, very hard. Very hard. Okay, bishop f4 is not going to happen, I think. What he could do is move the bishop back, like bishop c7 is something that he might consider. But then, of course, dc5 is something you have to consider as well. If you take on d4, then of course queen d4 is resigns because chat bishop hanging hai, and g7 pe mid to. By the way, look at that move, b5. Wow, what is this move, Sahaj bhai?
Bhai, typical like elite player response there. If you sacrifice something for initiative, the first thing they will look for is how can I sacrifice it back and take back the initiative? Because at the highest level, they know that activity, initiative is way more important than material. And that's what he's doing. He's gaining some counterplay on the queen side with rook b8, another tempo on the board. And now queen a5 can be possible. Knight g6. Knight g6 is actually very good for black.
What do you feel about Duda's last move? Feels like I've seen this before.
थोड़े flashbacks आ रहे हैं भाई, back to back. अब तो Duda को भी आ रहे होंगे flashbacks, right? Not just me. But actually Duda didn't lose, so Duda drew. Unlike a certain someone we know.
But okay, Sahaj bhai, I think kismat kharab hai because like that was also 3+1, right? I think that was less time for you also.
At least it wasn't knight h3.
True.
Knight h3 is probably worse than knight a3. What if it ends in a draw? It's going to be a tiebreak and an Armageddon, basically, where the players bid, and of course you get the white color with 10 minutes, and the person who wins the bid will get black with whatever number they bid with their time, and then of course that's how it continues. By the way, knight g6 played, best move.
2 बार हराना है भाई मैग्नस को 4 गेम के मैच में. Of course, second one will be 2 games. Will not be easy for anybody in the world. And Duda, of course, has already lost to Magnus once in this tournament. And by the way, knight g6 के बाद Duda is still thinking. So time still neck to neck बराबर. d5 is an option. I would love to kick the knight back with c3 Sahaj, but that blocks my bishop on b2, so not so happy about that move. Bishop on b5 looks a bit loose also, maybe bringing it back somewhere, maybe c4, f1, I don't know, like बहुत सारे options, there's so much to consider for Duda actually.
And he has just played rook to b1 to maybe put some support, for this bishop on b2 in case the bishop moves. कोई discover attack हो सकती है knight से, and the bishop could be hanging. Also, I mean, he's activating the rook as well. But now black, first of all, Magnus has fully equalized here. But the move here is really strange and not at all intuitive for me, which is f5. It's the best move in the position, and I'm guessing idea is that if you go ef5, I have rook takes f5, and in some near future, I'm gonna bring the bishop to b7, sack on f3, bring the queen, and try to attack like this. But look at this, he doesn't go for it. Magnus took the pawn on a2.
That's the move I was thinking. भाई ये प्यादा क्यों नहीं मार सकते? भाई a2 pawn free का लग रहा था मुझे. I was like, just take the pawn, and he played my move. भाई dark day in Magnus Carlsen's career.
भाई आप तो प्रेडिक्शन करे जा रहे हो. आई फील आई एम स्टिल थिंकिंग कि आपको कुछ पता है, लाइक ये कुछ डिले में देख रहे हैं हम. आई फील लाइक
भाई
एट द एंड ऑफ
blunder
द
है ना,
स्ट्रीम
तो
यू आर गोना
I
टेल
know
मी.
all about. I know
It's
all
not a
about it, भाई.
blunder actually. It's really not a bad move actually. The more the computer thinks about it, the lower it goes. Like it's only 0.4, and the best move here is bishop f1. I mean, I don't think that's happening. Yeah. Who's going to play bishop f1 here? I think maybe you'll go something like c3 to block the knight from going back. Bishop c4 looks logical. Knight c4 looks logical. आप कुछ अटैक करना चाहोगे ना, बिशप को रिट्रीट नहीं करोगे यहाँ पे.
True, but Duda is thinking, and उनको clear answer नहीं मिल रहा है. I mean, when you play rook b1, ideally you need the answer to knight takes c2 beforehand. But maybe it's a move he might not even consider. Yeah, he's like, okay. I mean, वो pawn कई बार लगता है कि भाई edible है ही नहीं, because nobody grabs on a2 like out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this. He goes d5, creating a clamp in the center. And if black plays pawn takes pawn, there is queen takes pawn. That would attack the bishop and the knight. That would just be GG. And here Magnus has a very difficult move ahead. Otherwise, he's significantly worse. And that move is pawn to c4. Matlab,
no
you
way
can capture this with the bishop, you can capture it with the knight. I mean, it looks like nearly impossible to play this move. But if he doesn't play Tikubai, it's 0.7 minimum from what I can see.
Wait, can't I play knight b4? Because that's the move, right? I want to play. Bring the knight back to b4. I just hope कि I'm gonna survive the game.
भाई गोट है भाई. हमें क्या बोल रहे हैं? c4 खेल भी दिया उसने भाई.
Bhai, he's better
Hey,
now.
this is ridiculous.
Bhai,
What is this, bhai?
Queen d4 played by Duda, mistake, and now after c3, Magnus is better, bhai.
Ridiculous, bhai. Finding c4 and c3 and just suddenly you're just complete. And now c3 is more or less forced as well, because otherwise there is a mate in one, and if you play e5, then I'm guessing, okay, why are we guessing? Bhai, it's the goat. And now knight takes c3. Basically, black just has a very superior bishop.
e5 up is even better apparently. If he finds e5 right now also, I'm gonna like declare Magnus the winner, भाई. मतलब क्या चल क्या रहा है? He's just like हर बार ये होता है भाई. हर बार he ends up winning. भाई कोई tournament ऐसा हुआ है जो Magnus खेला और जीता ना हो सके? I think we have to go back in history and analyze the statistics.
I'm actually really trying to think when was the last time I mean, I know Hikaru has won Norway. I know Fabi has won Norway, but that's like some years back, like a lot of years back. Like, in the recent history, I can't think of an event where Magnus played it and didn't win. Okay, I'm talking about classical, yeah, not like freestyle.
Classical, of course. Although rapid blitz
I'm
is
a
also
classical
not a big deal.
rapid
He also
blitz
wins rapid blitz every time.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy, actually. Chad, do you remember what was the last time Magnus played and didn't win? It's an interesting start, by the way. By the way, he doesn't go for pawn to e5. He takes on d5, and now it's more or less equal again. But the best move is a5 to keep some pressure.
And by the way, Sahil bhai in the chat making a great point कि वो भी iPad से खेलते हुए. By the way, Magnus is not happy with this last move. I think he noticed something which he doesn't like. So उनके expression से दिखा. And knight c4 was the move indeed. Like that's the move he didn't like at all because bishop attacked there. And now he pins the knight, but queen d2 gives white an advantage again.
Only move, by the way, that gives... you can put the queen on d3, d4 and d2 because I think the inherent idea is कि आपको queen को pin से हटाना है, right? ये knight pinned है. But how do you explain to yourself that you have to choose between... Okay, d3 is you can eliminate because there's knight f4 and d5 is hanging. But how do you choose between d2 and d4 and say d2 is better? I would choose d4. It looks more active. I attack a7. Then I'll play d2, no? See? Then I'll play queen d2 is my point because now I can go d6.
भाई डूडा हम में से एक है यार, ऐसे लग रहा है कि अपना खेल रहा है एक मैच, नहीं सहज भाई?
नहीं भाई, वर्ल्ड जूनियर चैंपियन, कम ऑन।
बट स्टिल लाइक आई कैन, मैंने
इज
उसका कैमरा फिर से
वेरी गुड
मैंने से कैमरा को
भाई,
देखो भाई,
कहाँ?
अगेन एक्सपेंडिंग, दीवारें दिखा रहा है मैंने से घर की। ही इज बेसिकली गिविंग मी अ फुल, वो बोलते हैं ना कौन सा होता है वो, जैसे पूरा इमेज खींचते हैं ऐसे एक्सप्रेस पूरा ऐसे लेफ्ट टू राइट पूरा, क्या बोलते हैं, पैनोरामा व्यू दे रहा है उसे बैकग्राउंड का, ताकि आई कैन गेट द सेम बैकग्राउंड। थैंक्स लॉट मैंने कैमरा जी।
Amazing. And look at this, by the way, from the blue arrow, Duda has just made a huge mistake. And now F5 gives Magnus not a winning advantage, but a significantly, uh, let's say, better position after F5. Because your idea is to go Rook F6 at some point. You could target the pawn on D6. You could play Bishop D5 and take the knight on C4. And all of these are, oh wow, played. Let's go.
भाई मतलब डूडा भाई हम में से एक
Good.
है सहज भाई, ये मैं समझ आया आज। वो भी इंसान है। एंड I, you were saying, Saj, I know something about the moves coming up. Like, I feel like Magnus knows something about the game itself, which none of the other.
Hmm.
Oh, another slight error of Magnus. Yeah, bhai, rare side, bhai.
Hooray, crazy.
Look at him.
A6 was the mistake. Wow. Oh, I'm guessing. What did he miss? He missed bishop f3 and queen. Oh, he thought bishop f3, queen c4 mar raha hai, bishop f2 check degi, but bishop b3 pins because he played f5. Remember?
Oh, oh, if we can show that, bhai, crazy tactics.
Look at this, bishop f3, queen f3. I'm guessing Magnus thought ke he can go takes and queen c4 and he's just a pawn up, but there's bishop b3 that takes the queen. And pawn f7 pe rehta to ye problem na aati, and that's why he's shaking his head. At least that's my guess. But now the position is equal, but time is really low.
Wow. भाई
Okay,
ब्लंडर
let's
होगा,
see, let's see.
एंड वी ऑल नो कि ब्लंडर करने की प्रोबेबिलिटी मैग्नस से क्या होती है। सो लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपेंस चैट। मे बी आई मीन डूडा हैज स्प्लिट्स लाइक एन अमेजिंग इवेंट, देयर इज नो डाउट। like he's probably played one of the best events of his life, like defeated Nihal 3-0 भाई। can you ये देखो भाई, but वो ना like मैग्नस के सामने कुछ काम नहीं करता है सहज भाई, that's the problem।
Oh, bhai, again Magnus making another mistake. Bhai, rook takes b1 was not good. And now it is Duda who's much better with 0.5 advantage and only two moves for Magnus where he doesn't lose. One is knight takes e5 and one is f4.
wow, okay,
Otherwise, he's
knight
losing.
takes
Okay,
c5 makes sense, but f4 में भी I'm not
exactly.
sure यार कितना आसान है।
f4 के बाद भी knight e5 मारना है भाई. तो idea is knight e5 only.
डूडा इफेक्ट कह
Duda
रहे हैं
if
भाई।
अरे
भाई इफ
भाई
ही
भाई भाई.
विंस तो आज डूडा इफेक्ट टर्म कॉइन हो जाएगा भाई। सो लेट्स सी, उसके लिए लेकिन
नहीं नहीं,
जीतना जरूरी है।
it's the knight a3 effect भाई. वो जब भी knight a3
ओह,
बोर्ड पे आ रहा है, Magnus जीत नहीं रहा है today. That's what it is.
मतलब नाइट ए3 बोर्ड पे आएगा तो एक्सपेक्ट दी अनएक्सपेक्टेड, बेसिकली कुछ भी हो सकता है भाई।
Exactly. कुछ भी हो सकता है यार. Exactly. कुछ बहुत कुछ हो भी चुका है, but yeah. By the way, 1.5 minutes for Magnus. No increment chat in this format. He takes the knight on e5. 1 minute advantage for Duda right now is looking a bit scary for Magnus. Now the pawn on d7 is under attack. I think Magnus is considering bishop takes d6, but some tactic. Queen d3 was there and queen takes d5 check. Se bishop mar jata. But now bishop e6 and now queen d3 only move for Duda to defend this pawn on d6. And then Magnus has to find some way to put pressure on this pawn. As if he doesn't take this pawn, then this is going to be a very difficult game for him to win.
Also queen d3 not the most easy move to play, right? I feel like I'm not sure
कर रहा
Magnus
ना भाई.
finds this, because idea इतना clear नहीं है मुझे, what is the idea of queen d3 in this position now?
By queen d3, you're defending the pawn on d6, and I think you're also kind of putting some pressure on the a6 pawn in the near future. I mean, there are some tactics on the cards as well, with something like bishop d7. You can capture twice here and give a check on d5 and take the bishop on c5. That's like another thing. And also you're kind of centralizing your queen, no? Because queen g3 पे, in the beginning it made sense क्योंकि आप attack कर रहे थे king side पे, but now that the dark bishop is gone, oh wow, he keeps the
भाई
queen on
यही,
g3. I thought,
this is what I was thinking, I was like कि rook d1 खेलते हैं, b file पे कोई square
भाई
है
हम
नहीं। भाई
But bhai,
सारे
this was an
गलतियां।
open file. This was an open file. I don't know. I thought Queen d3 is way more logical here. But okay, I could be wrong. Of course,
नहीं भाई queen
my
d3 was the
yeah.
best and I think missed by Duda, and अब time भी बराबर होने लगा है, and okay back rank issues solve कर लिए उन्होंने, but I feel like Magnus still has the bishop pair and f4, by the way, big mistake if he finds queen d3 now.
Okay, bye. But Queen d3, why is it so much winning? Because I don't understand that. Oh, maybe this bishop d7 and queen c4 check, something like that. You can take the bishop and you can deliver some smothered mate ideas. Oh, Queen C3 he plays. That's a mistake. Oh, mistake again.
ओ
But Magnus
भाई
is
दोनों
much
गलती कर
worse.
रहे हैं, दोनों गलती कर रहे हैं भाई.
Bhai, Duda is almost winning. Yeah, completely winning. It's +2. It's objectively winning now for Duda.
Okay,
Insane.
what's the winning plan though? Like I don't see it.
By Queen E2, it says for some
Oh!
reason.
Oh, I saw the winning
Oh,
plan.
E8
Thanks to
pe.
the engine. It's Queen
Which is?
E2, Queen H5, and Bishop takes D7. ऐसा कोई कुछ crazy tactic आ रहा है. I don't know. Like it's just working somehow.
Because you have Queen E8 checkmate ideas. So if the rook takes and you have Queen F7 check ideas, if the
Yes.
bishop takes on D7, it's very,
Wow.
very nice. But Tikubai, very
Hard.
difficult to see this because he has 38
Agreed.
seconds only and he makes
Wait,
a
what?
mistake.
Blunder?
Oh no, Queen D8. Magnus just blundered a whole piece and now he's completely lost. But Duda has 32 seconds on the clock and Magnus is trying to flag him. How often do we see this?
Wow. Bhai, Magnus Carlsen lost Sahaj bhai, and maybe we're gonna see. Oh, look at him. His reaction is like crazy. हार गया भाई
Wow.
Magnus. It happened. Duda effect is
Wow.
real chat. Duda effect in the chat. Spam कर दो भाई. भाई मेरा गला खराब है. Spam कर दो भाई. 4 बार बोल नहीं पाऊंगा. Please. That's chat.
Crazy, bhai. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And this was that moment where everything changed. If Magnus had 59 seconds on the clock, Duda had 37 seconds on the clock. If Magnus had just taken this knight, White could have captured back on F4 and now any move, even something like H6, something like A5, something like Rook F8, Magnus would hold this very, very easily and perhaps even put a lot of pressure on the clock for Duda because he only has 37 seconds with no increment. And here in this position, he goes bishop e7. He missed that white can take, and just take on d8 and deliver this check on d7 at the end. What a miss by Magnus.
Bhai, this is tactics, yeah. I mean, you might be the goat of chess, but if you're not doing tactics, like like it's like insane level tactics, I think you can make these mistakes. So chat, आप लोग भी tactics solve करे, puzzle rush करे भाई, ताकि आप लोग भी absolutely on point and do not miss tactics like these, भाई.
भाई
But Sahaj bhai, I mean, with this,
देखना
हाँ.
पड़ेगा Duda का account to see how much chess or a puzzle rush he's doing because clearly spotting that with such little time is very, very impressive, bhai.
Agreed. And now the question is, कि their point है, this could end in 3 games, but the other way, Sahaj bhai, if that happens, that would be insane.
Oh yes, then we have 2 matches incoming instead of one. So that will be fun. That will be fun. But of course, 4 games to ho hi rahe hain. And we have a slightly, let's say, upset Magnus in front of us because he has just made a blunder which he never usually does. So this is looking pretty good for Duda so far. But Magnus has been in this situation before, and that too against Duda. When they played in the semifinals, I believe it was Magnus. No, in the finals, like in the winners final, not the grand final, but the winners final. When he played against Duda, he had lost the first game with the white pieces, and then he drew the second game, drew the third game, and won the last game on demand with black. So this is it's almost like the story is kind of writing itself. But 4 game तो हो ही रहे हैं. टिक्कू भाई, do you think tie break पे जाएगा?
Bhai, I even feel like this could end in 3 games, Sahaj bhai. Like Duda could win the next one,
Wow.
and that would be insane. Of course, like I mean, just look at the. By the way, मुझे वो clip याद है. I think it was Tanya and Simon Williams. I don't know who the commentators were, but they were talking. Maybe David Howell, but they were talking about no space. On Magnus's jersey with all these sponsors. Like that's the kind of guy he is. He's built a name for himself over the last 15 years as the absolute best chess player in the world. There's nobody like you can literally debate about anything in the chess world, by like there's no one answer, right? But who's the goat of chess? Like this pretty clear कि भाई current दुनिया में जो भी players खेल रहे हैं, he's the best. And I think उनको जब भी हराते हैं ना, it's like a lifelong dream for people. Like जब he plays at freestyle chess, लोग फोटो खिंचवाते हैं भाई, पहले गेम बाद में पहले फोटो दे दो सर.
Of course, of course. And we all remember that famous photo from the freestyle event in Grenke, where that player from, I believe, where was she from? Atiku Bhai? She took a selfie with Magnus
हाँ.
before she played a match. I believe her name was Alua Anurman or something like this. And she
Yeah.
took a selfie with Magnus, and then it just completely blew up. So yeah, it does. He does have a
And
following like that.
And by the way, they're saying he's analyzing absolutely. By the way, I think he's using game review very likely right now, trying to figure out the mistakes where he went wrong. And I think Magnus Carlsen, of course, takes his chess very, very seriously. Any mistakes, he's going to analyze, figure out where he went wrong, and try not to repeat the mistake in the future, at least not today. I think Magnus will come back. By a high probability, by I think the universe agrees with you, Ramesh Bhai, कि he's likely to come back. But Duda के point of view से he would love to end it right now because हमने देखा है सहज भाई जितना लंबा मैच चलता है उतना मैच से कम बैक करने के चांसेस बढ़ते रहते हैं. Somehow he comes back, so if you can end it now, just end it now.
करेक्ट भाई, करेक्ट. एंड चैट में किसी ने बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सा एक टॉपिक छेड़ा है, which is Magnus usually makes mistakes and after that wins the tournament in the finals. So I'm trying to think ke against Fabi we know it was very very close. It was super. He was completely like lost and then he fought back and then he won the match. Nodirbek ke sath in the World Blitz I believe that was another final, no? But Magnus won that pretty convincingly, I think.
Yes, he won it pretty
I think
easily,
he won it.
actually.
Yeah, he won it in 3. So not always, Chad. I think it just happens from time to time. Of course, a lot has probably changed in Magnus's life. I mean, with him getting married and him having a kid, it can completely change everything in that sense. So yeah, could be that as well. Duda
Uh,
क्या करेगा भाई? Duda I think has gone to get some coffee. I think he's probably very very happy with the progress he has made so far because he was +1 and he has been +1 after 2 games in the entirety of this event against Magnus. So Magnus, only Duda can say that, right, against Magnus. But now I think Duda has to just tell himself कि ये कल भी हुआ था and उसके बाद जो हुआ वो नहीं होने देना मुझे. I have to learn from my mistakes and of course I think Duda has good chances.
Agreed.
When will the match start again? There is Tiku bhai, you were saying?
I think it will start very very soon. By the way, hey guys, just join ये मैच का फॉर्मेट तो फॉर्मेट कुछ नहीं है भाई, बस 4 गेम 2 गेम हो चुके हैं एंड डूडा इज ऑलरेडी बैक. वी आर अबाउट टू स्टार्ट द थर्ड गेम. बाय द वे वो अच्छा लगता है, रोशनी में डूडा अच्छा खेलते हैं भाई, जब पीछे से लाइट आ रही होती है. इट्स आफ्टरनून, ही प्लेज वेरी वेल. अंधकार में आई थिंक ही स्टार्ट प्लेइंग बैड चेस, सो ही शुड एंड द गेम एज सून एज पॉसिबल.
Yeah, exactly. But okay. Bro, it's cold coffee effect बोल रहे हैं. Crazy. But I don't think cold coffee India के बाहर मिलती है. Believe me, I've looked. They called it like iced latte or something, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. Tiku bhai, have you ever had iced coffee outside of India?
कोल्ड कॉफी हाँ भाई, लाइक देयर इज दिस
Cold coffee, like proper वाली.
हाँ
हाँ
हाँ,
भाई,
रेडीमेड
वो
सैशे आते हैं ना भाई.
रेडीमेड वाले क्या क्या वो थोड़ी ना हुआ कुछ. वो तो पाउडर
हाँ
है.
वो तो है भाई. लाटे, माचा, ढांचा, भाई क्या क्या नाम है भाई, मेरे को तो भाई पता नहीं. मैं तो कॉफी मांगता हूँ, कॉफी दे दो बस यार, कॉफी चलेगी. उन्होंने पूरा
अरे
क्लास
अरे
खत्म
अरे,
कर दिया भाई, बाय द वे.
क्रेजी
By
क्रेजी
the
क्रेजी.
chat, people wondering कि why is my face not on the camera? By the way, surprise, we इतने सालों से हमारा कमेंटेटर एक ही था. मैं तो सहज भाई की बस इनर वॉइस हूँ जिसको हमने एआई से वीडियो में ट्रांसलेट किया था. सो आज एआई हमारा चल नहीं रहा है एजेंट. सो वील बी बैक टुमारो विद द एआई एजेंट भाई.
अमेजिंग. टुमारो टुमारो
Oh, not tomorrow.
टुमारो
Sorry.
भी है.
First को भाई,
टुमारो.
first को भाई. Tomorrow rest
क्रेजी.
day for you, chat.
Chad is asking if Duda wins, does he have to win again? Yes, he does. He has to beat Magnus twice in a 4-game match, basically. So that's going to be interesting, bhai. Oh, so yeah. Sorry. So Samesh bhai just corrected us that the second match is only going to be 2 games. So in total, 6 games, basically, at best, max.
Assuming no tie breaks, of course, chat. I think that's the important detail. And looking at this, like it's gonna Magnus के पास एक ही तरीका. He's not gonna win 2 games in a row. I mean, he can, but unlikely. So I think for Duda's perspective, he should not fall under a trap कि भाई यहाँ से 2 draw चाहिए and I'm gonna win the match. Because अगर सहज में अगर चौथी गेम तक ये मैच गया, I'm expecting Magnus at least going to tie break. At least. So मेरे हिसाब से just finish it off right now in this game. Otherwise, Magnus is coming back and we might not even have like the second final, सहज भाई.
Yeah. True. And by the way, the games are just it just updated, so the game should begin very, very soon. Magnus is playing with the white pieces, so this is his last game with the white pieces in this match, and this is ideally the match where you try to when you do your best and try to win, because of course white has a slight advantage in the beginning. But let's see. Last time though, Magnus won with black, so maybe he could switch up his strategy and try to win with white. I think for now, Duda should just try to hold. Yeah. And if Magnus overpresses, then you can, of course, try to play for a win.
Agreed. And by the way, Magnus का कैमरा फिर से ऊपर रोल करता हुआ भाई. I mean, thank God it went back. And I think again, like I'm always surprised by how Magnus comes up with the motivation to show up to these events and win every single time. I think there's something magical and something which I think any world champion, be it Gukesh or Vaishali, Venjunju or Sindarov or anybody who's aiming for that goal should learn. I think what's special about Magnus that gets him to come back again even after. अरे भाई ये क्या
You are
खेल दिया भाई.
joking. Was that a mouse slip?
नहीं
That
भाई.
was a mouse slip. Yeah, bhai,
There's
he
no
got up from the
chance.
chair. He got up from the chair. That was a mouse slip.
भाई वो कॉफी
Oh,
लेने
no.
गया हुआ. There is no way that was a mouse slip, Sahaj भाई, because we saw his first game move also ना 98 जाम से खेला भाई वो.
मुझे लगा mouse slip रहेगा, but yeah, okay. Let's see. Now at least it is transposed into English. So even if it was, then it's still mainstream territory. You can go knight f3 here. You can try to play d. Oh, he goes a3. So basically, if black, by the way, Bar is saying that white is a bit worse. That's not true here, chat. If black plays d5, takes के बाद, this is the position which you get with reversed colors. Then this is called Sicilian Khan, basically. And that's exactly what's happening here. But white
Sahaj
के पास एक extra tempo है. Yeah, Tikku bhai.
So, I mean, I would assume you are an expert at this opening, Sahaj bhai. Sicilian Khan.
Actually, it's Sicilian Khan and Taimanov both, but I think it's more Taimanov pretty much now because Knight C3 was played. But yeah, exactly. Ear gap. आज तो मैं अपने कान एकदम छुपा के बैठा हूँ.
और मयंक भाई का स्टेटमेंट मुझे मस्त लगा. कहते आई लव द फैक्ट दैट जीएम सहज इज सो काम, डिलीवर्स आइडिया विदाउट शाउटिंग. आई गेस अ लॉट ऑफ अदर कमेंटेटर्स कुड लर्न. भाई और कौन है यहाँ पे भाई? सीधा बोल दो ना, नाम लेके बोल दो भाई. इट्स लाइक
भाई ये क्या है?
it's like you have a new girlfriend and say, oh my god, मेरी ex कितनी cute थी, like she used to always make pie for me. भाई अरे भाई सीधा बोल दो भाई कि भाई तुम्हें अभी पाई खाना है भाई. इनडायरेक्ट वही तक जा रहे हो. बट ओके, एनीवेज, लव यू भाई. करेंगे हम भी एनालिसिस करेंगे भाई, मेरी some other day. तो अभी
But nice, bhai. Nice. I think it was all positive vibes though. But okay, knight f3 and chat here. E4 looks very tempting, but that's a blunder because queen takes g7 is a mate. So this is a forever pin on this pawn on the e5 square. He goes a6 here, slight error, and now white has to play bishop d3. भाई ऐसा ही लग रहा है कि bishop d3 और bishop d6 का ही दिन है. Keep the pawn on d2 and put the bishop.
Let's play bishop d3. Yes. And chat, question to you. आप में से कितने लोग e4 कंसिडर कर रहे हैं टू फोक द बिशप एंड नाइट? सच बोलना भाई, दिल से सच बोलना. मैं कम ऑन यार चैट, कम ऑन, मैं कंसिडर कर रहा हूं. कम ऑन, लेट्स गो प्राउडली भाई. द फोक टीम भाई, आई थिंक जो फोक्स करना बहुत पसंद करती है. मुझे बड़ा पसंद है यार ओपोनेंट को फोक करना. कम ऑन, लेट्स गो चैट. हु इज पार्ट ऑफ दिस टीम? सहज भाई, आपका मन तो नहीं कर रहा e4 खेलने का?
I mean, I would say probably, but I showed this tactic just now, like 30 seconds ago, so I feel like no one will fall for it now. But I think in a normal scenario, a lot of players would consider something like e4. It is possible to miss this.
Yeah, chat, Queen G7 was made. It reminds me of when Samay Raina played the national championship India ki. I think it was online during the COVID times, and his opponent got disconnected. Sahaj bhai, do you remember this? Basically, it was a 10-minute game. Samay is playing with, I think, black, and his opponent got disconnected when he had 9 minutes on the clock. Comes back when his opponent reconnects when he has 20 or something seconds. So Samay is like, ये तो game खत्म हो गई भाई, जीत रहा हूँ. And then ऐसा ही weight miss किया उसने भाई. He played something like e4 and queen g7 weight in one. He could have just played anything. So उसकी याद आई मुझे भाई.
And which tournament was it?
Some national championship, like I don't know which national championship, maybe like some other 2000 or something, but kuch to national championship tha. It was online.
Nice, very nice. By the way, he goes short castle. एक और फिर से threat, अगर आप e4 खेलोगे तो queen g7 is mate. So now it's difficult for black to make progress because white का plan more or less clear है यहाँ पे. I want to go bishop e4 and maybe I want to take on c6 and try to capture this pawn on e5. I could also go bishop e4 and play d4 as well, जिससे you'll be forced to capture the pawn on d4, and if I capture back, सब trade होने के बाद ये bishop और queen फिर से g7 के pawn की तरफ देखेंगे. तो white के plans relatively clear, but black के plans maybe not so easy, yeah?
Yep, agreed. And by the bishop e4 move खेल दिया उन्होंने to stop this pawn physically now. And the only question is D pawn के साथ क्या करना है सहज भाई? Are we at some point planning to go D4 but अब bishop E4 के साथ मुश्किल लग रहा है? How are you planning to use the C file? Rook C1 all good, but how do we get to the C7 pawn? So अगला pawn break कौन सा आ रहा है basically? That's what I'm asking.
Right, there are two ideas. I think there is a4 b5. I see there's bishop takes c6. जिसके बाद आप knight e5 मार सकते हो. I think somewhere around I would try to target these two pieces. How? That is a good question. Like I also like this idea, but I think ये बहुत late कर देगा सब कुछ. It's very very slow. I would just wanna I just want to replace the bishop with the queen and the queen with the bishop in this sense. Like I would put the queen on b2 and bishop on c3 क्योंकि ये b4 defended रहेगा. एक बढ़िया सी Alekhine's gun on the e5 pawn and a4 b5 becomes super dangerous. So I was thinking something like queen c2, bishop c3 and queen b2. And now how it's low, but then again I'm asking what is black's plan? Like black कर क्या रहा है? Oh, because this rook e7 move, I'm not sure if there is a plan here. Unless he wants to go rook f8 and queen h6 and something like f5, Tikubai. Does that look good to you?
Yeah, possible. I think although rook e7 is kind of a weird move, I agree. Like there's no clear plan per se, but queen h6, f5, that would be a nice one because bishop on e4 right now sitting in the center of the board, we can basically force it to, kind of decide कि भाई तुझे जाना कहाँ है लाइफ में, like जैसे वेक अप स्ट्रीट में उसके पापा ने रणबीर कपूर से कहा था कि भाई तू डिसाइड करे तुझे करना क्या, घर से बाहर निकल जाए, काम कर ले, like देयर इज वन चॉइस. बट ओके, ब्लैक अभी भी has a lot more patience. उसके बेटे को अलाउ कर रहे हैं चिल करने के लिए.
तो ये सिड है.
So
ये सिड है. ये रणबीर कपूर है.
नहीं, रणबीर कपूर तो बिशप ऑन e4 है ना भाई, because the black
अच्छा वो
king is not
बिशप ऑन.
forcing him.
ओके गॉट इट. तो rook e7 कौन हुआ फिर?
रुकी उसके दोस्त हुए जो डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं उसको. They are not allowing him to fulfill his potential, for example.
I get it. And that's why they're playing for the other team, which is the other color.
Agreed. And in hindsight, maybe you're correct. Yeah, maybe थोड़ी analysis करनी चाहिए मुझे.
Okay, so there's rook c1 and black plays h6. I think a nice move, creating some, eliminating all of those back rank ideas जो future में आ सकते हैं. Magnus of course plays knight d2, which is a nice move. You're threatening f4 at some point. You're also threatening some knight c4 के बाद attacking on e5. You're also threatening knight b3 and knight c5. Lots of ideas here for white, and he has a minute more as well. Magnus looks pretty good here.
Agreed. By f5 आ रहा है, and I'm assuming black's plan is to attack. So I love this move queen b3, जो मेरे इंजन जी स्क्रीम कर रहे हैं. Like knight c4 to me felt tempting to get the bishop, but queen b3 also I love, especially it combines with your plan. Oh wow, वाह भाई, मैग्नस कार्लसन जी मतलब मेरी चाल खेल दी आपने. इंजन की चाल छोड़ के मेरी चाल खेल दी भाई यार. आंखों में आंसू.
आपकी चालें आए जा रही हैं बोर्ड पे भाई. Again, the more it happens, the more I think that कि आप कुछ कर रहे हो. आप you're secretly working on your chess and you're not telling anyone. भाई I can tell.
मैग्नस कार्लसन कठपुतली है असली, मैं खेल रहा हूँ पीछे. पॉसिबल तो
for sure I have to say Tikku भाई, like you are way faster, like way faster.
I just hope कि वो 8 साल के
It's puzzle rush और जो भी है भाई, जो भी है वो टिप्स डालो भाई. आप कुछ कर रहे हो डिफरेंट.
आई होप जो 8 साल के बच्चों से मैं हारता हूँ हर वीकेंड, वो भी वो समझे कि मैं उनसे स्ट्रॉन्गर हूँ, बट समझते नहीं है, वो हरा देते हैं. एंड मीनवाइल सेज भाई, लेट्स जस्ट टेक द बिशप ऑन d6.
क्योंकि आप नाइट a3 खेलते हो ना.
नहीं भाई, वो तो नहीं खेलना बाकी.
क्रिस भाई सेइंग कुछ could be marriage. आप तो Tikku भाई, do you think like getting married makes you play better chess?
I mean, possibly, because you do decide many debates with, chess games. For example, now, to me, the best move, like something I would consider is something like knight d6 and bishop d1, just to put that bishop on b3. And वो कितना tempting लग रहा है वो queen on f7. Like this is what I would do to like beat my wife at chess. Like this is exactly the maneuver I would play. So maybe that's the inspiration, bhai.
तो भाई like you are saying that it does help you, right? Like to an extent. But फिर उसके बाद भी आप यहाँ पे आप queen trade offer कर रहे हो. ये तो गलत हो ना?
हाँ, but like जो इंजन कह रहा है उसकी भी सुननी पड़ती है. But clearly Magnus मेरी टीम में है. Okay, rook d1 खेल दिया Magnus.
Chat is letting us know कि आप Magnus के ही coach हो, तो that would explain a lot. But okay, rook fd1 played, and now it's black to move. And look at this. I think black is kind of black doesn't have a lot of useful moves in the position. In fact, rook f8 was the second best, and the best was king h7. And even now, king h8 or king h7 is the best because there is no direct move that improves black's position any further. So whenever this happens, in chess, I feel like it is a sign of worry. Because no one makes filler moves like that.
Interesting. And by the way, Jackie, not for Vidit aa raha hai, bhai. Vidit, I think, is playing Uzbekistan chess, by the way, chat. I saw his name in the list. He's, of course, likely to qualify for the Olympiad as well. So Vidit might have taken a minor break for AI. Fair enough. He's going to be back for sure with a bang. So don't worry about Vidit. And by the way, King Ashet played those Sahaj by Black finds that move.
Wow, beautiful. Maybe okay. I think in hindsight, it's good to get away from the pin, ताकि कभी bishop d5 future में आए तो you are safe. Secondly, I'm not sure if he wants to do something on the like, especially with the move h3. Oh, okay. Maybe I will never consider g5 because this bishop kind of looks directly on the king on h8,
Yeah.
and that feels like a problem. Doesn't do it though. He goes queen g6, and now some pressure on the g2 pawn, and maybe f4 and bishop takes h3 is another threat
So-
that Magnus has to be super careful about.
मैग्नस का थोड़ा सा ऊपर और वो टॉप राइट देखना है वहां पे कौन सा कलर है. यस, इंटीरियर डिजाइनिंग में घुस चुका हूं मैं चैट. सो इस कैमरा को मैंने थोड़े से 100 रुपए की बत्ती दी थी कि भाई थोड़ा घुमा के थोड़ा लेफ्ट थोड़ा लेफ्ट थोड़ा लेफ्ट थोड़ा लेफ्ट. उधर भी देखना है सेम डिजाइन है कि सर डू यू थिंक डिजाइन रिपीट्स.
सर आपका लेफ्ट या मेरा लेफ्ट? सर आपका
मेरा
लेफ्ट या
लेफ्ट.
मेरा
डू यू थिंक
लेफ्ट?
दैट डिजाइन रिपीट्स और डू यू थिंक कि मतलब कुछ ओके ओके नीचे आ गया. नीचे वाला कवर कर लिया हमने भाई.
Done by. So now, can I play e4 in this position? That's what I'm really considering because it opens up my bishop. But maybe you have bishop h5. Look at this. That's why Duda plays queen g5, which is a prophylactic move. Because now if he plays e4, bishop h5 is no longer a tempo. Very nice move.
Very interesting. But अगर e4 का प्लान है तो maybe bishop d5 सहज भाई. Put the bishop on d5 beforehand.
Bishop d5. I like that idea. It's very similar to that bishop f4 that Magnus had to find in the previous game. Because if black
Yeah.
wants to play e4, then the bishop will remain active regardless. But although it doesn't feel the most intuitive move because bishop is technically a defender and now it's away from the king. And moves like f4 would scare me a bit here. Because there's bishop h3,
हाँ.
f3 का भी plan आ सकता है कभी.
Agreed.
But that is the best
that's
move
why,
though.
That's why I was literally about to say कि d6 मार दो ताकि attack weak हो जाए. But then a4 apparently was not the best. And it's a pawn sacrifice. Knight takes b4. Didn't know Magnus was a fan of that movie, Sahaj bhai. I mean, because what's the plan after knight b4?
Bhai, I am not sure. I'm guessing he wants to go bishop a3 to attack the knight on b4. And if black plays a5, then I'm not sure. Then I'm really not sure. Because if you take on b7, black can take on a4. So did Magnus miss bishop a3, a5? Very unlikely, no?
Yeah,
Or
very
does he want
unlikely.
rook c7?
But the rook is defended. No, I can anyway take on a4. You mean directly, yeah? Like I thought like
Directly
bishop
rooks.
a3.
Directly
Okay.
rook c7. Oh, bishop a4 मर रहा है उधर. Why? d1 का rook भी attacked है मेरा. Wow, that's a nice find.
Bhai,
Yeah,
this is tough.
So you were right, bhai. It could be over in 3 moves. In 3 games. It looks like Magnus is really struggling here.
Bhai,
And he
let's
has
have the
half a minute
Magnus
less.
and Duda cams, especially because camera ji बहुत ऊपर जा रहे हैं बार-बार and chat में किसी ने लिखा it's not a camera, it's a drone. Maybe you're right, yeah. I don't know. And bishop I3 best move played, but now he's supposed to take and find rook c4. How easy is that move, Sahaj bhai?
While everything looks very, very scary, rook c4 in this position, I mean, you're technically giving the second pawn, that too with a tempo. And for sure, Magnus missed something. We're not sure what that is, but for sure, oh wow, he goes rook c4, bhai. Wow.
Bhai, engine OP bhai. Engine OP bhai.
Still some hope.
After bishop a4, you have to now not play rook a1, which I thought is the idea, but you have to play rook c1. Okay, this is very tough. But Duda plays b5. He doesn't take the pawn.
Bhai, ab5 is a blunder because of e4. And Magnus could lose immediately here. Because
Oh.
bishop takes b5, takes the rook. Bhai, that's a great tactic. Oh, of course, Magnus doesn't fall for it. He takes on b4. And now pawn takes a4 possible. This is an isolated pawn. And it is a passed pawn, but there is a bishop defending on d7. But I believe because you have a light bishop as well, you should be able to take it. Bishop d5 looks very good after this. Oh, he goes rook c1. Some chance to Duda if he finds f4. Otherwise, it's completely equal. Tiku bhai, I think this is kind of the position where Magnus ends up winning with white. What do you think is the likelihood of Magnus actually winning this game?
I have to agree, yeah. Matlab, I think जहाँ पे imbalance हो, and look at this, yeah, already a minor error which equalizes the game. I do think it reminds me of this game against Karyakin in the World Championship. कोने में a3 pawn था, and Karyakin won that game. But this is too simplistic. Okay, bishops रह गया board पे सहज भाई. Maybe draw is the highest probability now.
True, but white does have a more superior pawn structure, let's say. If in some scenario I can take this pawn on a4, I mean, I'm gonna put pressure on the d6 pawn for the rest of my life. And I think this is going to be scary. Okay, I get that there is only 2.5 minutes left, but I think some chances for Magnus still.
Yeah, depends on how I think Duda plays this. I think king side पे थोड़ा initiative तो है. Like you could play queen h4, threatening queen takes f2. That could be a threat, not easy to handle. You could also defend the pawn on a4. I don't know how you play it. Like a3 direct पे तो queen d6 मर रहा है, I'm guessing. So it's not super easy. Maybe queen f6 also, right? Defending d6, attacking f2. Like I'm pressuring f2 somehow.
He goes, okay, I think he chose queen e5. I think hardly a difference in all of these moves. I think because pawn to a4 का मरना ही था. And अब वो मर चुका है. But now I think he's looking at d5, bishop f3, and maybe he's considering rook takes f3, which is actually working here. Oh, crazy. Oh, he doesn't go for it. He goes bishop g4.
G4. Okay.
And now look at this queen b4. He's already put a pin on this pawn. And with each move, I think Magnus starts to get a little bit better, yeah?
Yeah, I think problem ये है ना कि
Oh, blunder,
what?
blunder.
Oh,
No, Magnus missed.
Magnus missed it. That was a free
Oh.
piece, I think, Sahaj. My free piece miss किया
Yes.
Magnus ने.
Queen b4 and rook and bishop were hanging. This was GG. Wow. Okay, but I think still Magnus will win this. Oh, bishop
Wait,
f3.
what?
See, Duda says कि मुझे because I think when people face Magnus, they know कि it's better to just simplify the position in the most like direct way possible. Because Magnus नहीं तो आप वो खेल के he will just outlast you.
Bhai, I think Magnus is winning this. I think he'll find a way. It's tough because
Yeah.
pawns come here, but I think he's gonna find a way now. It's at least it's not gonna be easy for Duda. Like I feel कि without sacrificing, it might have been easier.
No, bhai. I think with that pawn on d5, I mean Magnus खेलता भाई वो 10 साल खेलता वो position वो. King h1, okay, but still it's not really losing.
Okay, rook e2
For Magnus?
only move.
Because
Not
I think if I have
trivial.
queen d5, bhai, I think queen d5 पे there's queen h4, king here and rook g2 and queen e5 check. Queen 1 check से मर रहा है. So that's why you
Yeah.
want to play rook e2 ताकि ये check से ये ना मरे फिर से. I mean it's easy for us, but
what?
no.
Magnus blunders! There is no way Rook G2 is winning! Oh my god, Magnus loses 2 games in a row! And he's laughing, but of course that's a blunder by the court.
By first game, Magnus was +1, draw. Second game, Magnus blunders in a equal position, loss. Third game, another blunder.
And Queen G4 Sahaj Bhai, it resigns, right? And he resigns. And Magnus Carlsen loses in just 3 games. And Duda has defeated him once. And now we're going to have a rematch. Wow. Can we go full screen on Magnus for a minute? Bhai Sahab.
For sure, bhai. And chat, how many of you think, first of all, how many of you are surprised? And secondly, how many of you think Duda now has a real chance of winning this entire thing?
Wow, and you know what? This makes me wonder, yeah. Matlab ki if a Magnus camera hut raha hai bhai, but like maybe typically you are right, Sejai. Maybe we are fighting for first place and not just the second place.
No, for sure. I think Magnus will start playing like Magnus, but maybe it doesn't happen in the beginning rounds. Because I think you still like for what happened with Hikaru as well, right? Hikaru was, I think, his level drastically increased, I think, towards the end of the candidates because I think he was playing a lot more. Like he was not rusty anymore. I think same can be said for Magnus as well because he hasn't played a lot in the last year.
Agreed. And by the way, koi keh raha hai, this is the end. No, this is not the end, chat. Because Magnus was in the winners bracket, he's allowed 1 loss. And iska matlab abhi rematch hoga. If we can have that graphic ek baar, jo pura fixtures hai, would love to have a look at it. Because for the first time, Sahaj Bhai, I mean, not first time, but after a long time, like Magnus lost a match. And now we're going to have the grand final. Okay, the second half of the grand final, Sahaj Bhai, I mean, this is crazy. 2.5 half. Okay, Magnus has lost before, but I say convincingly, it's not easy to remember.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember the last time this happened to Magnus, but yeah, it hasn't happened in recent years for sure. But okay, it's not that he just lost one match, and I think everyone lost one match, but but still now it's completely even and two games incoming, if I'm not mistaken, right, Tikubai? Two games incoming in
Yes.
the next match.
Yeah, if Duda wins the first one, chat, then anything is possible. And Sarah, do we know how much time it'll take till the match begins? Yeah, by the way, Duda won
Yeah,
against Magnus in oh, 3 minutes only. Then we can stay online. I think we don't need to take a break. By the way, Sahaj bhai,
yeah.
so two games, I think. Magnus must be shocked by this, to be honest. Like he was laughing, of course. Um, what do you expect happens in the final two games? Because ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है maybe Magnus could go on a tilt, right? Losing two games in a row is not normal for a player like Magnus.
I don't think Magnus goes on tilt. I think if anyone remembers in chat, I know Tikku will remember this because we were commentating on it. The match, the event World Rapid, I think it was, or World Blitz is. I think it was World Rapid where Magnus had a couple of losses, and then uske baad, he was not even in top 10, and people were saying, Magnus washed, and you and I, Tikku both were saying, "Ke bhai, just wait." Just wait. And then, in the last five rounds, Magnus just smashes everyone and, wins at the end. And it's just that if he can do that, I mean, that the guy doesn't go on tilt like that. He's good for a reason. I think game two, I think I'm still taking Magnus. What about you, bhai?
Anyway, I think we are taking Magnus, but the only thing is ki, what mindset does he come with? Because of do he game ka match, I think. And Rook G2, if he can go to that move, like 4 moves back, like was a surprise he missed that because I think it's like just a 2 move tactic, right? It's not like a deep tactic. For example, Queen before he also missed. If we go back a few moves, जहाँ पे
Hmm.
simple piece मिल रहा था, he could have just won the game यहाँ पे and ended the match, and that was two clear tactical misses. So maybe it's Magnus not in peak tactical shape, Sahaj, by essentially. Like that's the weakness here for Magnus.
Yeah, I think that's completely right. I think definitely it's some tactical issues, but okay, when it comes to the chess, otherwise I think he's playing exactly like Magnus. But yeah, missing queen before also in the previous game also, yeah, he had that blunder in the end in
Yeah.
a, let's say, almost a drawn position where he missed just a one move tactic basically. So that's three one move tactics that Magnus has missed. I'm just trying to think कि ऐसा कोई event हुआ है जहाँ पे Magnus ने तीन move tactics total miss करी हो. Probably not, yeah. So, so
Bhai,
this is new.
there was this stat ki if you track the number of losses, classical losses Magnus had every year from 2012, 13, like 14, whatever, when he became world champion, like 13 से लेके 25 तक देवर लाइक 2 years जहां पे वो एक भी गेम नहीं हारा था पूरे साल में एंड वी ऑफ कोर्स नो अबाउट हिज स्ट्रीक ऑफ लाइक 120 आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी गेम्स इट वाज विदाउट अ सिंगल लॉस सो ही इज समबडी हु नेवर लूजेस तो जब भी 2 बार हारता है ना it's always a shocker for me and of course the loss could keep continuing if he loses one more and इस बार comeback करना मुश्किल है so high stakes games है basically this one I think for both players.
Yeah, for sure. And Duda must be feeling amazing. Yeah, beating Magnus twice, I think for anyone is an awesome feeling.
Yeah, and जब Magnus आएगा, let's have the वो 2 player वाला setup. Would love to see Magnus थोड़ा सा ऐसे बड़े कैमरा में. By the way, he's back. उनका कैमरा भाई अलग ही सीन में है मतलब जूमिंग आउट ऊपर नीचे दाएं बाएं ये कौन सा कैमरा है भाई बस ये मेरे को बता दो ताकि मैं कभी ऑर्डर ना कर दूं गलती से फ्यूचर में एंड जूम आउट कर दिया भाई नाउ आई कैन सी द एंटायर बैकग्राउंड नाइस भाई आई हैव टेकन अ स्क्रीनशॉट ऑफ इट आई विल सेंड इट टू बनाता हूं मैं बैकग्राउंड
हाँ हाँ, बताओ बताओ बताओ, आपको तो लेकिन पता होगा ना, आप तो कोच हो. You should know
भाई
this.
सीक्रेट सीक्रेट भाई सीक्रेट सीक्रेट
Oh,
है
अच्छा
भाई
अच्छा. Crazy. That 121 streak was caused by Duda. Exactly. What a point. भाई वो 125 का जो chat, what a stat you have just given us. By the way, I mean we knew it, but I didn't connect those dots. But yeah, वो Duda ने तो हराया था उसको. 125 गेम
वेरी
के बाद.
इंटरेस्टिंग
वो भी ब्लैक से ही था वो भी.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Duda, one of
Crazy.
those players who's probably had a decent record relatively versus Magnus as compared to other players. And you can see him, yeah, right now pretty chill, but अंदर से थोड़े बहुत तो लड्डू फूट रहे होंगे सहज भाई एक बार तो हरा दिया मैग्नस को and now he's playing on equal footing, yeah. Now it's all up for grabs.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think games should begin very, very soon. And by the way, chat, I would love to know, out of all the players that you have watched, whether on stream or whether you've watched their games, who is your favorite? Like, who's your favorite player and why? Now, I mean, why? I mean, it's kind of understandable, but yeah, would love to know. And Tikubai, who is your favorite player?
Player, I think overall personality, might even choose Anish, but as a hardcore chess player, of course, it has to be Magnus. And also, like one more point, I was chat bata rahi hai, by the way, Arjun, Nihal, Hikaru, Fabi, I can see Ali Reza. Okay, I see a bunch of players. But also one more point, ki bhai, ye match is basically for like almost 20 lakh rupees size, bhai. Because I think the second price, I think, is $30,000. I might be wrong. 40 was there, but
Crazy.
like, this is just a 2 game match for like 20 lakh rupees, like I think. So high stakes for both players, bhai.
Insane, bhai. Insane. हो गया होगा अब तक. Taking a yeah, I see it. Oh, by the way, the games have begun, by the way. This is the position, knight c3, knight c6 hua, symmetrical English, and transpose into semi-Tarash. a3 takes, and black plays a6 as well. So principled approach, IQP incoming. White can go pawn takes pawn, or black can also take the pawn on d4, and that's how you get the IQP in the position. Black has played a6 because he wants to go b5, bishop b7, and so on. And he goes bishop d3, takes, and now Magnus is thinking whether to take with the pawn or whether to play knight e4.
Yep. And I said
So
Magnus
many.
will have. हाँ chat अभी भी guess कर रही है यार. David Navara, I saw like Magnus, I saw like
Navara is
Raghav.
I mean, great guy. I mean,
Yeah.
absolute
राघव चड्ढा
gem.
कौन सा चेस प्लेयर है भाई? कभी सुना नहीं नाम. Okay, best of 3 है क्या? नहीं भाई, अब best of 2 है. अगर tie होगा then we'll have tie breaks. Meanwhile, bishop g5 played. That was played
Best
very
of
quickly.
3, just as a rule, I'm just gonna let you know, best of 3 बहुत rarely होता है knockouts में chess में, because हमेशा अगर आप odd numbers पे गेम रखोगे ना, तो एक प्लेयर को ज्यादा white मिलेंगे. तो हमेशा, I know other sports में 3 गेम चलते हैं, but लेकिन chess में हमेशा even numbers पे होता है. Just to
Yeah.
make it more fair.
टिक्कू शक्ल
So
तो
by
दिखा
the
दे
way,
भाई. टिक्कू हमारे दिल में है भाई. टिक्कू अगले टूर्नामेंट में आएगा भाई, बिकॉज टिक्कू बीमार है. बाय द बिशप c2 प्लेड. आइडिया भाई, सिंपल टैक्टिक भाई. बिशप c2, क्वीन d3, बिशप 6, क्वीन h7 मेड भाई. सबसे बेसिक वे टू प्ले चेस. मैग्नस कार्लसन इज अस, सहज भाई.
nice. Queen d3, by the way. Oh, by the way, b4 खेला उसने. a takes b4 के बाद knight takes b4, and there is no queen d3 after this. This is why white should go knight a4, and if you take the pawn, I will capture back, and once again this b4 square is guarded. I will go queen d3 next and continue with my plan. Looks, I think, okay for Magnus so far. Time also equal.
Yeah.
अरे
Okay, he
अरे, my
plays queen
favorite
d3.
players सहज एंड स्टॉकफिश. भाई मैं एक फर्स्ट हाफ के लिए होलसम हो गया था, फिर मुझे लगा कि अब ये तो अब सार्काज्म लग रहा
Five stockfish मैं उस लाइन में. I think.
है. Oh, I just got it. अरे, sorry. Oh, that's actually very funny. Let's go.
By the way,
ये थोड़ा लेट आया यार, थोड़ा यार.
हाँ.
समझो.
So by the way, I like कि g6 हो गया. Now bishop h6 feels tempting. Rook b1 feels tempting. I think Magnus could have like great attacking chances यहाँ पे. कुछ knight e5 आगे जाके queen h3. You never know. कुछ हो सकता है यहाँ पे.
Yeah, exactly. The king looks a bit exposed, and at some point, Tiku bhai, you see. Oh, by the way, knight d5, huge mistake. But I was gonna say, at some point, do you see the possibility of rook takes e6 happening here?
Oh, definitely, yeah. h4, h5 takes on g6. Knight takes. अभी already भाई chances बन रहे हैं. Already
Knight
plus
is-
1.5. भाई, he's crushing
Exactly.
Magnus.
No, bhai, Magnus is white, and Magnus is the one
He's
crushing. Bhai,
crushing. Like,
in this.
he's crushing, comma Magnus.
Yeah, exactly. I know, भाई. मैं समझ गया आपके, क्या कहते हैं उसको?
हालात.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, exactly. Bishop takes c5.
भावना है.
Okay. Bishop takes c5 is I think a very logical move, but इसके बाद pawn takes c5, and suddenly your dark squares are just completely gone. And if you leave the knight on c5, then knight takes c6, like we mentioned, is a huge threat in the position. Jazbaat, क्या बात है?
Is Duda also sponsored? I'm sure he has sponsors, but Magnus itne shayad now. By the way, Queen c7 feels logical, but then you consider moves like Rook c1 and more tactics appear. Yeah, Bishop a4, Knight b7. Bhai, ye to matlab looks like a position like which should collapse in like 5 moves. Like totally could end in 5 moves from now, Sahaj bhai. Like yahan pe to one minor error away from complete destruction.
Magnus completely locked in, yeah? You know what his accuracy is, chat? 99.0 for Magnus right now, after move 19. And chat में इतने लोग बोलते हैं कि why Magnus is the best. I mean, this is you. I mean, you are seeing it yourself. After two losses and not having the advantage anymore. I don't know how many players would have this motivation. It's very, very difficult.
Which I have played, by the way, tactics incoming. Rook
Ooh.
d8 खेला है, but the king side is feeling rather weak. Yeah, मतलब वो rectangle बनाएंगे तो ज़्यादा pieces है नहीं black के वहाँ पे. Already seeing some. Oh, h4. As we discussed, h4, h5 incoming, very dangerous.
Bhai, then knight takes e6, pawn takes g6, and the king is completely left unattended. And how do you even defend here? If I go knight f4, then there is queen somewhere e4. Let's say knight b6. That's a blunder. Bhai, knight e6. Okay, this is the moment where Magnus has to find that tactical shot, because this is it. The game is over after this.
And chat, can we show it? Okay, Magnus will show it maybe, yeah? We can let Magnus show it. I don't know. Because
Magnus will show it, bhai. 7.5 minutes, bhai. No chance Magnus misses this now.
He could play bishop e3. That does look like a simple solution if I don't want to calculate. But, I mean, after missing tactical ideas, like this would be a good finish for Magnus.
I don't think so. I think he will find knight e6.
Come
in
on,
a second.
Magnus. Knight takes e6.
Probably he's like rechecking the lines again and again, because last 2 games में एक tactical miss हुआ था. So I think this is a very human thing for a lot of chess players. If you miss a couple of things, then you recheck it again and again to make sure आप कुछ miss नहीं कर रहे हो.
Duda looks like Chunky Pandey right now, but okay. I told you, Sahajbhai, he's not tactically confident. He's not tactically confident right now. Magnus Carlsen missing a win on the spot.
वाओ ये तो डूडा इफेक्ट नहीं भाई, ये तो टिक्कू इफेक्ट लग रहा है मुझे. जो भी टिक्कू भाई कह रहे हैं वही मैग्नस खेल रहा है आजकल. आज आई मीन
तभी 3 गेम में हार गया भाई.
I didn't say it.
Raju, come on.
Oh, knight d5, another blunder. Right? Knight takes e6 is again hanging.
Oh, this
Okay,
one
now
is
it's
difficult, though.
No, much easier I think. Right?
Really?
In the previous position, a4 was hanging. Knight a4 was. अब bishop b3 पे पूरा pin करके बैठा है.
But
Way
okay,
easier, I
h5
think,
makes
no?
sense. Yeah, h5 also makes sense. Like a nice move. And now you take on c5, but आपने dark square दे दिए मुझे अब सारे.
Yeah. Exactly. Knight g5 incoming in the next move. Bishop takes d5 is a beautiful strategic decision, because once you go pawn takes d5, look at this bishop and look at my bishop. I mean, it's almost like he plays bishop d5. Let's go.
Wow.
It's almost like white is playing with an extra piece.
Yeah, and chat, knight on c6 is controlling knight on f3. If you move that, I'm going to put the knight on e5 anyways. I'll look at the control of the e file as well. Queen e3 aa raha hai, and I can basically queen lana hai bas mein g7 pe. Yeah, that's the simple plan. So very difficult position.
I think queen को dark squares पे रखो ताकि वो और ज़्यादा dark squares control करेगी, diagonally speaking. So we can go queen e3 here. It blocks rook e8. Then there is queen e8. And secondly, you can have some queen g5, queen f6 type के ideas. Some if queen f4 maybe in the near future. Knight e5 can also be a possibility. And suddenly we are getting closer and closer to the g7 square, which is exactly what we want.
Agreed. Absolutely. There could be some ideas. For example, Sahajbhai queen g5 खेला, then rook takes d5, queen takes d5, queen f6, and it's force mate.
Oh, beautiful. Very, very nice. पक्का पजल रश कर रहे हो टिक्को भाई, पक्का.
भाई अगर ये बोर्ड पे हो गया तो कुछ तो सीन है भाई. अगर ये सच में बोर्ड पे आ गया ना रुक d5 queen f6
तो पजल रश ये जो बोला ना टिक्को ने रुक d5 और क्वीन f6, भाई मैं बता रहा हूँ टिक्को भाई इज डूइंग पजल रश एवरी डे. बताओ भाई कौन से आपका अकाउंट चेक करना पड़ेगा भाई.
I would say कि मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but membership बिक रही है तो भाई कर रहा हूँ भाई. Chat ले लो भाई जाके membership. Oh, by the way, look like f6 खेला, but okay, now I'll take on g6, of course, 100%.
You'll take on g6, pawn takes, and I think you're taking on g6 because you don't want black to play g5, and then this bishop becomes a bit loose. But also, Tikku bhai, instead of pawn takes g6, you can also go knight h4, put pressure on g5, and if you play g5, then there is knight f5. I think a lot of moves are winning here. He plays rook b1, attacking the bishop on b7. Bishop 8, by the way, only move for black. If you played queen e7 or something, then I can always take. If you played queen d7, then your f6 pawn becomes weak. So none of that is possible.
I think Magnus is facing some indecision though. Like कभी इधर कभी उधर. Like होता है ना, like जो इधर का ना हो घर का ना घाट का, like ऐसे कुछ feeling आ रही है मुझे. Now rook b6 for example is a nice move, pinning the knight and attacking the pawn. But it's also a difference in strategy compared to attacking on the king side. Now Stockfish used to do it very well. Alpha Zero for example, switching from the king side to the queen side and the king side. So Magnus using that. But I hope he can finish the game off because tactics यहाँ पे चाहिए होंगी Sahajbhai to finish the game. Game ही ऐसी है, without tactics you will not land the killer blow.
Correct. And I think two of those tactical, shots were there on the e6 pawn, but those were missed. Wow, Tikku Bhai plays rook b6 as well. What is going on? Oh, that's bishop f4. Let's go. Bishop f4 is winning.
Wait, what?
Bishop f4.
Big
What?
blunder, no?
That's a big blunder. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
resigns
just
होना चाहिए अब.
GG. Yeah, resigns है ये तो भाई.
Wow.
Yeah, and ultimately it's that bishop on a8, and in any opposite colored bishop जो भी attack करता है वो एक piece extra से attack करता है. And you can see this bishop, इस bishop का कोई contribution नहीं है इस position में. However, white's bishop is the reason why Magnus is winning.
Wow. And Chad, iska matlab Duda will have to resign. I mean, he can play on if he wants to, but everything is falling apart. Iska matlab Magnus will win the first game, and now the second game becomes a must win for Duda with the white pieces edge by like draw bhi nahi chalega.
Absolutely looks very, very tough for Duda, but he did defeat Magnus 2 games in a row with white and with black. So, if anyone can come back from this, it is Duda. And I see a question in the chat that after h4, why was knight b6 a mistake? We did cover this. The idea of the reason why it's a mistake is because white had knight takes e6, f takes e6 and rook e6. And iske saath aapka king ekdam khul gaya. And you have rook takes g6 check as a very, very big threat in the position. So because of this tactical sort of combination, knight b6 was a blunder. And I think we move to the next game. Duda with the white pieces. Tikku bhai, chat, do you think Duda comes back? Yes or no?
Tough, Sahaj bhai. Bahut tough. This could be the final game of the chess.com Open if Magnus draws or wins. And of course, aapko pata hota hai ki aapko jeetna hai on demand against Magnus. That puts a lot of pressure on you. But of course, Duda has done it just today itself. So that should give him confidence. But chat, overall, a great event, Sahaj bhai. Yeah? The chess.com Open qualified 3 players for the EWC. We saw great performances by Nihal Sarin. He should have gained some confidence. And a lot of interesting matches, right? Maza aaya. Like, pehle din se hi the tournament was really hyped up.
Absolutely, bhai. Nihal, OP, Pranesh also having, a spectacular event, proving himself against so many, strong players. And then, of course, I think the only sort of sad thing was, Arjun. Definitely,
Agreed.
expected. I mean, I'm sure even he expected him to, be playing, the finals as well. Even he's one of the best players in the world. But yeah, maza to aaya. And look at
And
this.
chat-
There is Italian. We do have liftoff. He has just gone it for Italian. Now bishop e7 is played, and now it is white to play. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And I think Magnus keeping it very solid this time. I think he is being practical. He realizes that by tactically, maybe I'm not in best shape, and maybe that's something he's going to work on. Because chat, let's not forget. Just want to give you a heads up, chat. Anybody joining in? अगले एक महीने में क्या क्या tournaments है? Sahaj bhai, you also know this. कितने events है? First of all, we have the Tape segment tournament. We'll be covering it. It starts from 1st May, just three and a half days away from now. It's going to be exciting because वहां पे अर्जुन आएंगे फिर से, and he's going to be playing Magnus or Dogmas, Nodirbek. Exciting classical event.
Wow, that will be insane. I think watching Magnus Erdogan should be quite something, no? A 14-year-old
Yeah.
against Magnus. That's it. It reminds me of the time when Magnus played against Kasparov. You remember
Bhai,
that?
Chesscom,
And he drew.
Chesscom Turkish is going to retire that day, Sahaj bhai.
उनके सारे
I'm telling you.
कमेंटेटर्स एक दिन के अंदर बस खत्म भाई.
हाँ, I'm not even kidding. They're going to be in
भाई
Maldives the next day, bhai.
उनको उनका कैंडिडेट 2024 मिलने वाला है भाई. In like
And
1 week
totally
from now.
deserved, bhai. I mean, a Dogmas
course,
has
of
been a
course.
sensation. I think has been a sensation. We're just joking around, but what a player, man. 27, the youngest ever in the history of chess. And वो भी ऐसे जमाने में जहाँ पे मतलब, rating deflation चल रहा है. Like 5-10 years back, he would have done it even earlier. So that's the crazy part. And I think it's going to be fascinating. Of course, Arjun ka play will be under scrutiny. He did not have a great Tata Steel. Hoping he gains some rating points. Abhi world number 11 hai. He enters the world top 10 again. World top 5 hopefully, defeats Nodirbek and some strong players. And uske baad hi Sahaj bhai. In fact, uske dauran hi. In fact, I think May 5th se ya 6th se, we have the GCT Poland tournament. जहां पे गुकेश वर्सेस सिंधारो होने वाला है भाई, चाहे रैपिड विथ सी, बट 3 गेम खेलेंगे वो आपस में फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम since Sindarov has won the candidates.
Arey, crazy, bhai, crazy. That will be a huge match, I think. But let's see. Sindarov is, I think, in great shape, and Gukesh, even in Menorca, didn't have the best event. So it's if this tournament could be the turning point for Gukesh, and could be the reason, why he does well in the World Championship. But let's see, why? Let's see. It's in Blitz though. It's tough, why? It's tough to say. Also, Sindarov is a beast, yeah, when it comes to faster formats. What are you?
Yep.
Who do you think is a favorite here, Tiku bhai? Gukesh or
right now,
Sindarov?
I think Sindarov has to be the favorite right now, like in this moment.
Mhm.
But I think what will happen is if their individual encounter goes in Gukesh's favor the first time they play, then it could change. So I think pressure will be on Gukesh, right? Because Sindarov abhi kind of jeet ke aa raha hai. So he's the one who has to kind of prove ki bhai, I am the world champion. Hopefully he does not take that bait though. I think he shouldn't try to prove to anyone. He won it fair and square ahead of Fabi, Hikaru, everybody in the world, Prague with it as well. He should just kind of believe in himself and go for the kill. But okay, it's easier said than done. जब फॉर्म में नहीं हो, आप विड्रॉ कर चुके हो कई इवेंट से, एंड वहां से जो क्वालिफाई किया है, ही इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ हिज लाइफ. सो विल बी इंटरेस्टिंग. एंड ऑफ कोर्स उसके बाद एक और इवेंट है मे चैट, वो हम बाद में कवर करेंगे. बट उसके बाद नॉर्वे चेस विल बी अ बिग वन, सहज भाई, बिकॉज दैट्स द 4th इवेंट इन मे. दैट्स इनसेन. एंड वी गोना हैव गुकेश, we're gonna have Prag, we're gonna have Magnus Carlsen. Last time की टेबल बैंगिंग के बाद इस बार क्या बैंग होगा सहज भाई?
अरे भाई डेंजरस क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया आपने. बट भाई
Like,
मजा तो
I'm
आएगा
guessing
फॉर
कोई
श्योर. वी विल
बॉटल
सी.
फेंक देगा इस बार कुछ
We
और हो
will
जाएगा.
see. We will see Gukesh versus Carlsen for sure. भाई वो that will be, I think, a very very big match. Both for it could, again, that could also, beating Magnus in classical gives you a lot of confidence as well. I mean, if Gukesh is able to achieve that, I think he could just be fully back in just one day. Yeah. Imagine.
Agreed.
अगर गुकेश ने मैग्नस को हरा दिया, ऑल सारे जो पहले हुआ आप लोग सब भूल जाएंगे, इंक्लूडिंग गुकेश.
Agreed, bhai. And I think Magnus Carlsen के लिए बहुत important event है भाई, because he's going to play Tapis segment. So what if he plays well there? And then I think, of course, he'll be in good form at Norway, confidence होगा. But if Tapis segment doesn't go according to his expectations, right? मान लो he loses the game, maybe to Nodirbek or Arjun, and maybe even, a Dogmas, then he might be a bit tilted going into Norway chess. He might not feel his, a game coming up. So I think उसमें भी बहुत मौके रहेंगे गुकेश के पास, Prag के पास to beat Magnus. And of course, पिछले दोनों नॉर्वे में, I think Indians have played kind of well against Magnus. Prag defeated him once. Gukesh defeated him once. So मजा आएगा सच में नॉर्वे चेस में.
Yeah, भाई मजा तो बहुत आएगा. By the way, coming back to the game, Duda looks like he is keeping a very stable edge in the game, and I think none of the pieces have been traded off so far. Not even a pawn has been traded off, and it looks like Black's position is a little cramped. ऐसा लग रहा है white के pieces ज़्यादा, they're a bit pushed forward, and Black's pieces are just cramped. So it would be a good idea right now to try and trade off some pieces. And I see knight f3 as a potential trade. And it's, by the way, one of the best moves in the position. At some point, you have to take this knight on f3. But after takes, this just looks very, very depressing for Black, I feel.
Agreed.
Because it's
This
like,
looks...
look at the pawns, white's pawns. I mean, look, the bishop is fantastic. Rooks are, centralized. Black K pieces, it just feels a bit depressing, yeah. He goes rook d8.
Yeah, and rook d8 के बाद somehow, for example, I love this idea chat, so instructive. The best plan for white is to not trade that knight now, play knight h2, and then prepare f4 and basically just open up the center जब queen e7 पे है and black is not developed. So crazy idea, not sure Duda will find it. He's thinking though.
Wow, knight h2 is very difficult. I believe it's called Fisher's idea, if I'm not mistaken, in that Royal Lopez structures. But that's usually when you go knight g4.
I played.
But yeah,
He finds it.
Crazy. Sahaj bhai, Magnus se khelo. Yes, bhai, मैं खेला हूँ, but online, like in Title Tuesdays and in Pro Chess League, I have played against Magnus.
Duda के चेहरे पे light देखो भाई. He's being enlightened right now, and he might just beat Magnus Carlsen. The light is shining upon him. May the light be with him, bhai.
I am surprised आपने कोई मिल गया वाला रेफरेंस नहीं बोला अभी तक भाई. I'm genuinely surprised.
That's a miss on my part.
मुझे लगा बोलोगे वो होता है ना, वो जो कोई मिल गया में धूप चाहिए होती है to play well.
Bhai, I am so disappointed right now in myself, Sahaj bhai. Like I will not forgive myself. बीमार भी हूँ, but like I should have thought of that. But okay, regardless, like मैंने कहा था पहले भी. I think जब the light shine हो रही है तगड़ी, Duda plays well. By the way, knight g4. Look at this pawn sack किया. Threat is of course knight f6, and then the dark squares become ridiculously weak. What does even Magnus do? This is a suffocating position for Magnus.
Is very, very bad. In fact, knight c5 is the only move in this position, or otherwise, Magnus is definitely worse. Look at this. 0.7 का advantage at bishop h4 blue arrow. Otherwise, it just keeps going worse and worse. By
भाई
great
bishop
position
h
for Duda so far.
भाई f5 चाल देखो क्या खतरनाक लग रही है भाई, with ideas of f6 check. भाई
चैट
that
में
is
सब लोग धूप लेकर हैं. That is so funny. Oh wow, he plays f5 as well. भाई
so
कुछ है.
so chat
धूप
कह
is
रही
the
है
key.
बेसिकली दूल्हा के पास कोई एलियन है एंड अभी वो धूप आ गई वहां पे, तो नाउ ही इज प्लेइंग वेल क्या? ऐसा अरे यार नहीं नहीं चैट.
Oh, by the way, Tikku bhai, bishop takes g3, f6, queen f6, knight f6. Please play this, Magnus. Please do it. Just do it.
Oh,
You
wow.
you're not worse. Just do it. Please do it. Like
Oh, he
just
will do
for
it,
the
yeah.
memes. You have to
He
do
will
it
do it, bhai.
for the
He will do it.
for the content. Do it for the content here. Take on g3.
He will do it. He will do it.
I
Why
know
he's
he's
thinking?
thinking. I know he's thinking about this, bhai. Just do it.
He's shaking his head. By the way, come
Yeah,
on, Queen
he's
sack
like,
Magnus.
do I have to do it? Do I have to do it? Also, like, if he sacrifices the queen now, then tactical misses बाद में होना बहुत मुश्किल है नहीं? Because you can create a fortress.
Yeah, and I feel कि queen अगर नहीं देते हो, then I think you could lose this position in one move. After you sack the queen, you're not losing this for the next 20 moves or so at least. So I think the game goes longer and more chance of Duda going wrong. By the way, light गायब हो रही है. क्या हो रहा है? अंधेरा हो गया है. सहज भाई धूप खत्म हो रही है.
Exactly, that's the perfect time to sack to sack the piece and just play on. Perfect time.
Oh, he doesn't sack the queen. He wasn't convinced.
अरे यार. Okay, let's see if this theory is true. अभी भी है तो सही. धूप तो है भाई अभी
भाई
भी.
मैग्नस
उतना
कैमरा का क्या
crazy
इशू है
धूप.
भाई?
क्रेजी धूप नहीं है बट लेकिन भाई मैं मैग्नस को नहीं, मैं तो धूप को देख रहा हूँ भाई. दैट्स द रीजन ही इज प्लेइंग वेल.
भाई धूप versus camera is the battle today, chat. And I think let's see who wins.
Welcome to the grand final of the chess.com
धूप
Open.
versus camera.
Where there is धूप versus camera. Let's go.
ये गया फिर से कैमरा. भाई कहाँ जा रहा है ये कैमरा यार? ये जा कहाँ रहा है? I'm not even sure. कौन है ऊपर? कौन दिख रहा है उसको भाई ऊपर?
It's actually very funny.
भाई जादू वर्सेस भूत. I feel like ऊपर कोई फेस रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहा है वो कैमरा, I think.
Yeah.
By the way, Queen h5 is the only move now.
Jadoo
and
versus
Rook.
Con.
Bhai,
You know that movie
bhai.
Con?
भाई Rook d5
Wow.
is the only move for white and Magnus is better.
हाँ बट धूप है ना बेबी. वो देखेगा Rook d5. I think he's thinking f6 and Rook d5 as well, if I'm not mistaken. Why is that not working, bhai? Why is f6 check, king h8 and king h8 is bad, king h7 is bad, king h8 is only move, rook d5 and g5. अरे भाई knight h6 तो खेलूंगा मैं white से. थोड़ा अटैक लग रहा है इधर. queen d2, knight g5. It looks scary for Magnus, but okay, let's see.
दूल्हा भाई जल्दी करो, धूप खत्म होने वाली है. टाई ब्रेक में धूप शायद ना बचे. कम ऑन, rook d5. Chad, what do you think?
f6 check, queen f2, rook d5. These are the three moves.
Bhai, the enlightenment level is crazy, bro. Like it's like he's gonna find rook d5. Bhai. There is no way with the stars aligning ऐसे perfectly he's not gonna find rook d5.
भाई crazy भाई. I'm sure इसको थोड़ा vision में problem नहीं हो रहा इसको. Like with that, I mean that looks very strong on his
भाई
eyes.
विजन का प्रॉब्लम तो रोहित मेहरा को हुआ था भाई, बट वो सॉल्व कर दिया चलो.
एक फिर से क्रिकेट वाला कुछ रेफरेंस है.
भाई रोहित मेहरा था ना भाई, जादू तो वही तो था वो.
अच्छा हाँ, सॉरी माय बैड. अच्छा हाँ, वो भी फिक्स हुआ था उसको. अरे इट वुड बी सो क्रेजी अब डूडा अगर अभी अपना चश्मा उतार के like he starts playing perfect chess. भाई I will lose. I'll completely lose it if that happens.
That will be insane.
भाई imagine he just takes off his glasses now.
मुझे सब दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है.
मुझे सब दिख रहा है.
By the way, Chad, I think Duda is at one point literally was the guy who was supposed to play the World Championship, crushed Magnus at the World Cup. Yeah, like he was the guy and he's very strong. Just like other players. By the way, f6 check खेला रहे यार, धूप थोड़ी कम हो गई.
भाई धूप नहीं है. देखो धूप नहीं है.
भाई mistake. King h7 played. And he finds rook d5. भाई धूप is real.
धूप नहीं अभी वो सिर्फ हाथों पे आ रही है अभी, नॉट ऑन द फेस. g5 प्लेड बाय द वे. e5 चेक. भाई कितने सारे सैक्रिफाइसेस है इस पोजीशन में. 3 मिनट का ही टाइम है. आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स इनफ टू कैलकुलेट एवरीथिंग. आई रियली लाइक knight h6 and rook g5. I also like e5 check a lot. ओ भाई उसने फिर से अपनी सुपर पावर्स का इस्तेमाल किया भाई, वो फिर से आगे आ गया। लुक एट द धूप।
भाई ध्यान से सुनो कि तो आवाज आ रही है, टो 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 टो।
भाई कभी अभी डूडा के साथ बास्केटबॉल बिल्कुल मत खेलना भाई।
अग्रीड।
भाई बिल्कुल मत
अग्रीड।
खेलना, अभी वो उड़ेगा अभी वो।
By the way, knight takes h6, your move is still possible, पता है? Like it's still possible.
अरे
So I think Duda is
क्रेजी।
definitely considering it.
अरे लुक एट दिस E5 चेक,
Oh,
किंग H, दैट्स
mistake!
अ ब्लंडर।
भाई, look at the best move, King G1. भाई King G1 तो धूप भी नहीं निकाल पाएगी से. That's
नहीं
impossible.
नहीं
If he finds
भाई,
King G1, I'm
जादू
gonna lose my mind.
जादू को सब पता है। जादू ढूंढ लेगा भाई किंग G1। बिशप G4 का थ्रेट है ना भाई।
भाई, but still, King G1 is insane if he finds it. Bhai, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna get my own Jadu bhai if King G1 happens. And then I'm gonna win the world championship.
Okay, come on. Bishop takes G4, H4 is a pin, no? Okay, he goes.
I
Okay,
told
he
you,
has
bhai.
the same idea, but wrong approach, I think. Same
इस
idea.
जादू में वो दम नहीं
Still
है
not.
भाई, वो अलग था. उस जादू में कुछ अलग बात थी.
तभी तो Krish 2 आई थी. Takes on E6, F takes E6, and now? Yeah, I still
Tough
think
to
it's
find.
dangerous, bhai. I still think
Yeah,
it's
it is,
dangerous,
it
bhai.
is. It is. We Jadu has an engine which is stronger, yeah? That's possible. We are not able to understand the moves.
Okay, rook D5, E6 के pawn को तो बचाना जरूरी है. ये तो forced ही है. Queen F7 maybe is
Magnus
a
camera
possibility,
flinch.
but उसमें H6 में
ओ मैं निकला, ओ गड्डी ले. भाई अलग ही दुनिया में जा रहा है भाई कैमरा. भाई 4 मिनट
एक
मैग्नस.
साउंड इफेक्ट तो होना चाहिए एवरेट। ओ भाई ब्लंडर, ब्लंडर बाय
Oh,
मैग्नस। नाउ इट्स
Magnus
बेटर
is tough
फॉर।
now. भाई 3 पॉन खा गया वो टक 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 करके भाई.
भाई जादू इज कंप्लीटली विनिंग नाउ। G6
जादू shit यार. भाई मैग्नस ट्रेडिंग काउंटर प्ले.
आई दिस लुक्स वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर आई एक्चुअली इट लुक्स डिफिकल्ट फॉर डूडा आल्सो। लाइक हाउ डज ही मेक प्रोग्रेस? G4 तो नहीं आ रहा है। व्हाइट से भी आप A5 पुश कर लोगे एंड देन ओके रुक 8 देन व्हाट?
भाई दिस गेम इज बियॉन्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग भाई. होता है जो सब खेल है. जस्ट लेट इट गो सहज भाई. जस्ट एंजॉय द गेम विदाउट एनालिसिस बिकॉज यहाँ पे हमारे अंडरस्टैंडिंग के बियॉन्ड है ये गेम सहज भाई.
Yeah, of course. भाई कैमरा भी
It's
थोड़ा
magic.
बियॉन्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग।
It's magic भाई. It's magic.
It's magic.
Makes sense.
It's magic. Pawn takes G4 only move. H4 भी possible है actually. So not an only move. But then the knight on H2 becomes really bad.
भाई Duda looks like he's gonna go super saiyan just in about 10 seconds. Like I'm not even.
भाई मेरे को लग रहा है कि अभी 2 सेकंड के अंदर अपने वो डोले दिखाएगा and then he'll just take off his glasses. I just know it भाई.
I love this lighting by the way यार. Amazing lighting. By the way, A5 pawn दौड़ रहा है सहज भाई. So what does Magnus? Does he attack? Does he defend the pawn? The choice is not easy.
Rook 8. It's a mistake on paper at least, but I think if you let the engine run, it's not really a mistake. Still okay. I think time is a huge factor, Tikko bhai. You're right. I think that's maybe
भाई
the reason.
E5 hanging है.
Oh wow. It was hanging before also, na? Here also it was hanging. So why did he not take it here? एक सेकंड कुछ और knight d2 था मेरे पास and this was hanging. Okay, sorry. Going back, queen e2, knight e5, knight d6 played and now rook c5, defending this and this.
Oh,
blunder.
Blunder!
अरे देखो भाई धूप नहीं है।
धूप चली गई और
नहीं है।
blunder हो गया.
धूप
It's too
चली
late.
गई।
2 सेकंड के लिए धूप गायब हुई एंड इंस्टेंटली हो गया है ब्लंडर भाई. ओ नो. ओ मैग्नस also blunders.
Okay, but this is fine. It's still equal. Still equal. 45
भाई,
seconds
Duda
for
हारने वाला
Duda.
है.
चश्मा उतारो Duda. That's the only way.
सहज भाई.
चश्मा उतारो
I feel like-
भाई बस। Yes.
सहज भाई, I feel like like this reminds me of the iconic dialogue, like like वैसे तो ये ब्लंडर बड़ा है बट बाकियों के लिए वो ब्लंडर भी छोटा है. Like something like that.
क्या?
बड़ा हो गया है मगर अभी तो छोटा है. Like ऐसे कुछ.
क्या?
अरे वो डायलॉग था ना यार उसका.
Did that
रेखा ने dialogue मारा था.
type yes or no? Did any of you understood what
भाई
Tiku
रेखा
just
का
said?
डायलॉग था ना उसमें. तू बड़ा हो गया है. Something like that. Like,
अच्छा हाँ, and then बोलता मुझे सब देखता है। I remember that. Actually, I saw this movie very recently, so I remember
oh really?
it so well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I saw it very recently.
Wait,
actually. Oh, look at this.
wait,
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Check, 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 check. And I think that's a draw. Otherwise, you just
Oh,
get
wow.
checkmated. Queen G7 check, you can play to continue the game, but you have 16 seconds on the clock. I think you are going to lose it.
Wow. So Magnus Carlsen likely to win. Oh, he continues. But he's not going to win this one, Sahej by at least a draw to hai.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah, of course. 12 सेकंड में क्या ही जीतोगे भैया. मैग्नस अभी अभी थोड़ा सोचेगा 2 मिनट थोड़ा फेयर करने के लिए. क्या सोच रहा है अभी कैसे ड्रॉ करूं? नाइट G4, नाइट C4, नाइट D3.
Yeah, I think Rook A1 is the simplest. Basically, chat, even with the powers of Jadoo, it's not easy to beat Magnus Sahej by. Magnus is just the GOAT.
Exactly. भाई जादू भी नहीं हरा पाया भाई. That's how you know he's the GOAT. Exactly. And look at him, he's thinking now, yeah? He's thinking like, dude, just to make sure there are no mistakes. And even though his opponent has 10 seconds on the clock, like, even if Duda was completely winning, it is
Yeah.
impossible to win this with
Yeah.
9 seconds. It's impossible.
I mean, the only way is if you get your knight pinned somehow and then allow some,
भाई वो नाइट को कैप्चर करोगे, आप रियलाइज करोगे, फिर पॉन पुश करोगे, क्वीन करोगे, आप निहाल थोड़ी हो.
That's a good point.
Only Nihal can do this.
Okay, almost. Rook C3 check नहीं था luckily वहाँ पे.
Nice, nice, nice.
भाई थोड़ा सा
I'm
weird था,
just
by the
saying,
way.
just take on G1 just for the content. Oh भाई, Rook F3 mate हो सकती थी, नहीं है mate actually.
अरे ओ मारा ही नहीं, रुक ही नहीं मारा उसने. Oh wow.
Yeah, because Knight
And
F3
that's
remove
it.
किया होगा ना.
Yeah, and that's it, chat. इसके साथ ही Magnus Carlsen wins. He does lose the first match against Duda, but जैसे ही धूप गायब हुई, he couldn't resist, and Magnus Carlsen wins again by. It wasn't easy for him this time, but he is the champion of the Chess.com Open, said by.
Correct, bhai. What a performance once again from the GOAT of chess. Just keeps coming back, keeps winning everything back to back. Also, like he lost 2 games in a row and then he won 2 games in a row. So hisab barabar completely. Yep, Magnus
अरे आज
OP.
कमेंट्री करने
Magnus
में
is
बड़ा
the
मजा आया.
GOAT.
इवन तो आज बीमार था,
हाँ
but
भाई.
बहुत मजा आया भाई. अच्छा ना. I was feeling it.
Ah, bhai, it was fun, bhai. I have to say this entire like event was a lot of fun, like in general, because with Nihal, doing so well, Arjun. Okay,
Yeah.
Arjun was a bit sad, I think, but overall it felt like a very energetic event, and I think it's thanks to the chat as well. Chat was very, very good today, and of course, thank you to you as well, Tikku bhai and Samay bhai. Bhai, Samay bhai, Harshit bhai also told me कि Samay is crazy when it comes to broadcasting. He told me this 1 hour ago. कि like he's one of the best like producers like that there is. Literally just now. So
Yeah,
Samay OP,
absolutely.
Kyle OP. Let's go.
And
bhai.
chat, thanks a lot for joining. I think this was a crazy event, and surprise, surprise, Magnus Carlsen wins. Of course, उनके कैमरा का मिस्ट्री क्या है, I think वो हम अगले टूर्नामेंट में फिगर आउट करेंगे. Even Magnus can't control the camera, yeah? The camera is so excited, by the way. So thanks a lot, Sahej bhai. बहुत मजा आया commentary करके. We can see a slight smile on Magnus's face, almost like he's posing for a selfie there. But he is the winner of the chess.com Open, and वो चौथे तरीके से qualify कर चुके हैं for the EWC.
Awesome. What a performance. And yep, EWC में बहुत मजा आएगा भाई. But well done to the GOAT. But okay, did any of us doubt it? I don't think so. Because even though he lost the first match, I think because Magnus is just known for making a comeback, and he has done it in the last year alone, he's done it like 3 times. That too in the finals. So like there is no question
And
anymore.
yes, chat. So I really want to thank you all for joining. This was the chess.com Open, but 2026 is a packed year. As we discussed, मई में ही कम से कम 3 से 4 इवेंट है जो हम कवर करने वाले हैं. जून में भी 2 से 3 इवेंट है, जुलाई में भी हैं. It's all packed till the end of the year. We have 2 potential world champions, of course, fighting it out. So बड़ा मजा आएगा. Thank you, Saj, for the amazing commentary and handling the camera. थोड़ी तबीयत मेरी खराब थी. Sorry भाई for the flawless broadcast as usual. When everything goes smoothly, sometimes हमें लगता है कि भाई it's all easy, but it's very, very tough to have those scene changes. And thank you all, chat, by for joining and making this tournament epic. Without you, wouldn't be fun. Soul के कितने fans आए थे, by the way. जो पहली बार चेस देखे थे, कई लोगों को चेस कभी खेला ही नहीं है, but they were there to support Nihal as he played in the Seoul base camp, boot camp, base camp, the Mount Everest का base camp बना दिया मैंने इसको. It's just that sort of day, bhai. It's just that sort of day. होता है. So chat, we'll see you in just about 3.5 days with the Tepe segment tournament. Thank you for joining. Take care. Bye bye and good night.